and NASCAR at Naval Base Coronado. The wait is over. It's time for the race on the base. We are green in San Diego, California. Look at him fan out down to turn 2.
Best stock car drivers in the world, proving why they are labeled just that as they cleanly get through turns 1, turns 2, working their way through turns 3. This challenge, pretty monumental. These guys are doing an amazing job.
Yeah, this tough part of the course where there's a lot of different surfaces down the back straightaway headed toward turn 5. Long sweeper. You either underdrive or overdrive this. It's really hard to get through here and get acceleration out of this turn. A huge bump exiting this. It's a little trough right there that they have to drive through. Very uncomfortable for the drivers. Down into turn 6. Good braking zone, opportunity to try to make a pass, but you have to switch back. If you don't complete the pass, you're on the outside going through turn 7.
That's exactly right, Dale. We're to that area of the racetrack now where every corner is kind of paired with another. That was 6, 7. Now we're going to come across to 8, 9. 8, a left-hander, a defensive move right here out of the 54 of Ty Gibbs, but Kyle Larson was able to get to his left, but now Ty is in the preferred position. Driver's right, heading into the right-hander.
Chris Buescher right there with him in the 17. Really, really good road racer. Talking about him prior to the green flag. SVG able to get the early jump. Has the advantage over Carson Hocevar.
Larson grabbing a few spots right there, being aggressive at the start of this race. Some drivers will be real timid at the very beginning running this first lap. Other drivers going after that, taking advantage and putting people in bad situations.
And now this is a high.
Oh, little contact right there.
Suarez, Zane Smith get together.
Suarez, I think, lets Zane back in, knowing that the contact was probably his fault. Says, man, I'm so thankful you're still rolling. I'm going to give you the spot back. Zilich and Priest battle into the chicane side by side. Remember, you have to get to the left side of those tires. I'm not sure the 88 was going to do it. A little walk-up. If you miss that chicane, you're going to have to serve a penalty about a half a lap from here in turn 8. There's a spot to stop.
Side by side through 16. We've seen a lot of cars getting to the wall there on corner exit across the finish line. Starting lap 2.
Whew, that was only one lap. Are you sure? Felt like 5 or 6.
I'm already worn out. 71 is Michael McDowell. Really, really good road racer. Great start to the weekend for Team Spire, and he's racing with Connor Zilich in the 88. And right behind them, impressive weekend as well for Austin Hill in the 33.
Cindric is trying to, Zilich is trying to stop the loss of positions here. He was really frustrated with his qualifying lap. Here he's lost his position or 2 at the beginning of the race.
That's that 88 Red Bull on the hoodie. He's under attack again, Dale.
Austin Hill now to the inside. Austin Hill has been phenomenal all weekend. He was really good last week at Pocono, relatively good speed all weekend long. He's been nothing but fast in this Cup car here in San Diego. Won yesterday in the O'Reilly Series. No real surprise there, but the speed in the Cup car is real.
Suarez in the 38 of Smith. They get it worked out this time. The 7 of Suarez gets through.
He was very delicate, though, when he made the pass after what happened last time around. Leaders to turn 8.
Zilich losing another spot possibly here as the 5 of Larson trying to grab another position. Larson up several spots at the beginning of this race.
You know, Larson was quick in practice. Didn't have the qualifying run he wanted, but we're showing a lot of speed early out of driver 5. There he goes.
Oh, a car around. It's Dylan right here.
Yeah, I think that's in turn 9. The exit of turn 9, the right-hander. Whoa.
Jones gets through there cleanly.
Dylan's going to
try to get this thing fired up and going again.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many blind spots around here. The spotters are great, but there's some areas where they do have a hard time seeing. Got to be very, very mindful as a driver on track. Watching Kyle Larson up to 10th and right behind Austin Hill.
Zilich is still losing spots. Side by side in contact with Ty Gibbs right there. That was almost huge. The 3 car still not able to get fired up.
Working on it to get it refired here.
So now listen, they're going to give him instructions. This car is literally 2.5 miles from where this track's going to be. If you look at the left side, right, we have the 3-car all the way over here. These cars have to make a half a lap at the 3.5-mile course. There you go. I love NASCAR waiting. No reason to put us under yellow. The yellow flags are going to take a while. Let's give these fans what they came out here to see. Let's leave the racing green when we can.
Yellow flags will take about 6 minutes.
Now we see what happened. A.J. Allmendinger, contact there.
A.J. just kind of turned him around.
What's unfortunate, he was 17th, and, you know, pretty good start to the day for Austin Dillon. His only top 10 of the year came at our last road race at Watkins Glen.
Man, if you listen to A.J. there, he kind of got out of the gas or got out of the brake and into the gas and turned the 3-car around, but there's the contact with Zilich and Ty Gibbs, and that could have been huge to a fast section of the racetrack.
I'm going to tell you, after 75 laps, you'd have to interview every driver about every lap to know all the contact they've made, and everybody they were mad at some point or cut somebody off at one point.
We always say that drivers never forget, but as long as this race is, it's easy to forget. And look at this. Carson Hocevar inside of Shane Van Gisbergen. 77 on point. That's impressive.
So you have to ask yourself, is the 97 go away? Or remember, he told us at the pre-race desk, his concern about leading is he didn't know how hard to push. Maybe he said, you know what, Carson, you're young. You're exciting. You're the Hurricane. Get out there. Let me follow you and see how much you're sliding those rear tires around so I can pace myself running second. That's a wise race car driver.
These two guys have worked together all week on the simulator on iRacing. They've raced each other, and they had a blast together competing on iRacing. Looks like that's going to continue today. SVG back to the lead. The rear tire slipping on that 77 of Hocevar.
Yeah, Hocevar was sliding all over the place there.
Look at the... You know, when we asked what passing zones were, I didn't know the answer was everywhere. And that's what these guys are doing.
That's the mentality for sure.
Absolutely.
Xfinity onboard camera riding with Bubba Wallace. Good start to the day, back there in 10th.
There's a great point about patience. Normally, he's thinking 3 wide, jumping out there. Today, he says, I'm going to hold up. That 77 is falling back. If we saw the back of that car slide around, maybe he's already burned those rear tires off.
I hope not. It'll be a long, long day if the rear tires are gone already on lap 3, but that's what happened in practice. Here's the 12 of Blaney. I think you're right. I think SVG just runs just hard enough, and all these other guys are working their race cars. We've seen this every single road course race we've been to, how SVG can really extend the life in the tire. That's going to be important today.
Got to give some love to Ryan Preece, up to 3rd in the running order. A guy that's been on a slide lately. When you talk about the chase standings, came to play today, and he's 3rd behind 2 good ones, drivers that have won in this style of racing.
Well, let's not forget that driver in 4th, the 71 of McDowell. We talk a lot about Hocevar because he is entertaining without a doubt. The 71 has run very well at the Speedway, so good at the road courses. He's the type of mentality. He could be the surprise today.
Man, Blaney right on the tailpipes of that 97 car. To the inside here, down this long straightaway into turn 6. I think SVG just seems like he's just kind of taking it easy. On acceleration, not really pushing the car that hard.
I will say that's kind of mean to the competition. I mean,
I don't know. He said so, and as you mentioned in the pre-race, he told us he's going to kind of manage his tires here this first run, and that's the one run that's going to eat him right up. The tire wear should improve. Oh, no. Listen to that.
Already. Wow.
Already struggling. So they've got to really get to work on this car. He's going to start bleeding spots.
Blaney gets the lead. Preece goes by for 2nd. Pole sitter Shane Van Gisbergen back to 3rd. McDowell and Zane Smith complete the top 5. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, born on the track, built for the street. NASCAR on Prime, back at Naval Base Coronado. You're watching the Anduril 250.
What a piece of property. I mean, just look at this, the island of Coronado. I'd never spent much time here, and the base has been amazing, but the town also, it's been a buzz all weekend.
Yeah. A lot of comers and goers early in this race. Drivers talking about rear tires falling off, SVG. This guy right here, though, seems to be comfortable and happy with the pace underneath the 12 car here. Oh, no, Jimmy Johnson. That's some hard contact.
It looks like the chicane.
Come to pit road, pit.
He's going to try to get it turned around here.
It's an interesting spot on the chicane, though. I wonder where exactly he hit.
Looks like he probably hit the inside wall trying to get to the chicane.
Oh, yeah, like
I locked up the rears and probably spun left into the inside wall, if I had to assume.
Some debris, but off the racing surface there, off the racing groove. So we should be just fine to continue on our way. Hate this for Jimmy Johnson, making limited starts. Home game for him. We know what this race meant.
He's had a lot of issues with rear lockup. There you go, he spins
he
around.
hits to the right side.
Yeah.
Like he just had braking issues. I mean, look how fast he goes by the 4 car. I mean, this car has braking issues.
Yeah, he's done this all weekend. He's had problems with the brakes, and they've talked about the rear brakes locking up. They've been trying to fix this issue for Jimmy, and it just seems like they haven't been able to get it right. Almost like he has way more rear brake pressure than he does front pressure and can't seem to get the balance going right there, Kim.
Yeah, and Dale, you mentioned the issues they've had all weekend. We saw that rear brake lockup all throughout practice. Crew Chief Chad Johnston told me they did change brake pads to try and alleviate some of those issues, but after that incident right there, Johnson came on the radio and said, these brakes, man, they can't do anything. So very upset from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, on board with the Toyota Racing onboard camera. I know it's not the day we won on Sunday. It was great having him on the desk, and Dale, you brought it up. It did warm my heart to see Jimmy Johnson run that truck. There was a moment in that race coming down the hill where he put about a 3-lane block on the guy for third, and it sparked something that I hadn't seen. I'm like, that's the Jimmy I know right there. So I know the Sunday didn't go, but he's been really a glow all weekend about racing in San Diego.
The guy that I'm watching right now is that purple car, Bubba Wallace, man. He has been working his way forward. He's been very happy about his car this weekend, thrilled to be able to get through practice without hitting anything. And then he qualified relatively well, and he's drove his car almost up into the top 5 here. I think he actually was up to 4th place, maybe made a mistake and lost a few spots. And that's one of the things we have to pay attention to is a car might be really, really good on the short run. Well, the short run's 2 laps. And then they might lose the rear tires and immediately start dropping like a rock. So the drivers talk about it like a cliff, like the car has grip, and all of a sudden you have none when the rear tires fall off. It's not really a gradual thing.
Here's what I would say about Bubba Wallace, how hard he's worked on his craft when it comes to racing on the road. This has not always been his thing, but he's worked at it and gotten better and better. And here he is back up, racing for another position.
Yeah, back into 5th around the 71 to McDowell.
I mean, look at the gap, right? Blaney in 1st, 10 seconds back to Swerve in 7th. Right along with Bubba. Love to see the work he's putting in. He looks pretty relaxed. Let's just take a look at everything he's doing over here on the left-hand side. You see the gear selection, RPM, throttle, and brake. Part throttle, a lot of part throttle. I mean, he's even babying it down the straightaway. He's saving rear tire. Dale, you've done it at places like Martinsville. Not even really smoke the rear tires on acceleration. Just be really patient.
SVG into 2nd place. So he slowed down a little bit, worried about them rear tires. Got to a pace that he was comfortable, that he might find confidence in to be able to make this run last. And now he's starting to move forward as the other drivers that maybe pushed a little bit too hard are starting to pay that price.
Great look off that rear bumper there.
Yeah, the Red Bull onboard camera looking back at Ryan Preece, who's been sent back to the 3rd position. So one thing that has always blown me away about Shane Van Gisbergen is that he's so elite with his ability and his mind to manage these races. but also at just getting educated over stage 1 and stage 2, and then being at his best when it's all on the line.
Adam, I saw a completely different version of SVG. I was able to walk the track with him, as all three of us were on Thursday, and he went out, and he was very quiet. He was a matter of fact, but he was looking at every seam of every barrier, every way the tire barriers were assembled. Dale, he was kind of looking at this track and from a completely different perspective than some of the other drivers.
He looked like he had a big moment there through turn 16. We've seen that corner challenge the drivers, and a few have hit that outside wall coming to the flag stand. This is not easy.
Bottom right, the foot cam, the footwork. A lot has been made of this because he uses his right foot to brake, unlike most other drivers. NASCAR drivers in general, left foot brake. SVG, as you said in the pre-race, Dale, he's grown up driving this style of race car. So watch, his right foot will come over. At times he can even, there you go, he'll use the clutch on the downshift. Some say it makes no difference. Some says it's a huge difference. I can't tell you what the truth is. I just know it's different. It's not what most drivers do. You got a vote in on it, Dale? Where do you stand? Do you think that clutch has anything to do with his advantage?
I think it does. He won't admit to it, but I've talked to some of his peers from Australia, New Zealand, and they talk about how they, it actually helps save the tire life by using the clutch in the downshift and also into the braking zone, and kind of how he uses the clutch to actually help the car turn a little bit. So it just, when you dump the clutch and start using engine braking to slow the car down, it's harder on the rear tires. Bubba Wallace up to third.
He's third behind SVG and race leader Ryan Blaney. NASCAR fans, you can win this Cup car. Literally, this car, Anduril is giving away an authentic Gen 6 Cup car. Scan the QR code to enter.
I don't think we're eligible But if we did win it, Adam, would you drive us around? Would that be our car we take to the racetrack?
Let me tell you, if we had that car, there was a 0% chance Letarte would ever let me drive.
Well, we learned this week you'll give rides to just about anybody.
That's
Anybody's
right.
looking for a ride.
Kyle Larson peeling off. Scheduled green flag pit stops middle of stage 1.
Yeah, basically they have 5 sets of tires or brand new tires in the pits, so they're trying to break them up equally, knowing that we're going to have cautions at the end of the stages. I just wonder, I know the fear is we have to come get tires. You see all the pit crews ready, Joey Logano on pit road as well. I just don't know if somebody can't stretch him and do something completely off cycle, Trevor.
Joey Logano and his team have talked about that. They also talked about the different types of asphalt and concrete on the track. Where can you go hard? Where can you go easy? But Joey Logano was getting a lot of tire wear there, Marty.
See Kyle Larson on pit road who said, quote, "I have my hands full out here. I'm going to need some help." Also talking about no rear grip, kind of the same thing that everyone's saying. All the drivers with a chorus of lack of rear grip to start here at San Diego.
Didn't even look like the 22 is too concerned about filling the fuel up. That's another way you can help rear tires. You can go about 22 laps on fuel, so if you don't fill it all the way up and you stay a little bit lighter on fuel, that's just taking weight off those rear tires. Could help them last longer. Match your fuel to your tires. Marty.
You see Noah Gregson on pit road. All of these cars kind of splitting this stage in half, Steve. But the interesting thing is I've heard a number of teams in the top 5 talking about running longer, maybe trying to run to where they can flip the stage, which would be making those tires last a really long time compared to what these guys are pitting early here.
That's my vote. I'm telling you, Ryan Preece or Chris Buescher just ran a 1:39. That's 3 seconds faster than the leader. Bubba Wallace has run the same lap time now for 9 laps. These guys have the cruise control set. It doesn't make their job. I almost think it's harder to run a little bit easier, to stay in your rhythm, but they are hitting a target lap time.
Man, they are running Blaney down 2 seconds, a little over 2 seconds slower there. That last lap, and you see the gap.
I feel like we've gone back to the 80s. This is a skill set. The drivers back in your dad's day, Dale, like you had to take care of equipment and tires, and these guys are proving that they have a whole nother skill set we didn't know about.
Blaney to pit road, giving the lead to Bubba Wallace.
Scheduled stop for the race leader, Ryan Blaney. Qualified inside the top 5. Here he is, Trevor.
Yeah, and you guys nailed it, Dale Jr., about the pace. Everybody's trying to find that target lap time. What can they go? Ryan Blaney was one of those drivers who pushed the pace pretty hard there, opposed to what Shane Van Gisbergen did in riding. You'll see 4 tires go on this number 12, Marty.
See Ryan Preece coming down pit road as well. That was their goal, to pit when their 12 of Ryan Blaney pitted. Actually, Shane Van Gisbergen was going to come down pit road this time as well and follow these guys down. But then he said, let's stay out, let's see what happens. So SVG making that call.
See Daniel Suarez making a stop. Ty Gibbs, Connor Zilic. The theory for just about everybody, split it in half.
But I like these guys, if they can get their tires to, say, lap 17. Oh, as we see I don't know exactly what happened right there, but that was pretty crazy. I think that was the 41 of Cole Custer in that Texas A&M car trying to get down into his stall. I couldn't tell if he had traffic or just lost control. Oh, no. Really nice job by the 16 and the 41. Dangerous when cars make contact.
Celsius on board here. Snug getting out.
I bet AJ's in there fuming.
The 54 had a front row seat to it.
Now NASCAR's going to do, if we have yellows, quickie cautions, that's going to bring the entire field to pit road. We're going to have some wild situations on pit road with cars trying to get in and out of their boxes all day long. That was a big issue yesterday during the rally race.
Penalty for Daniel Suarez. His crew over the wall too soon. Unfortunate for a driver that qualified up front and was doing a nice job early.
Hell of a race right here for the lead. Bubba Wallace, Van Gisbergen, trying to put the pressure on Bubba.
You see on the left-hand side, Blaney in 10th has pitted, and he's running in front of other cars like Hamlin and Nemechek, who have yet to come to pit road.
To the inside here in the braking zone. Not sure they're going to be able to make the pass there. He's just being real patient and careful.
I talked about how much Bubba Wallace has grown as a road course racer. He'll find out how good he is right here. I mean, you got Shane Van Gisbergen behind you, and right behind him, Chris Buescher. And when you think about the next-gen car, Buescher has been the guy that you circle, the model of consistency. In fact, his last victory came on the road a couple of years ago at Watkins Glen. He'd love to end the winless streak today. Here's Shane Van Gisbergen. Turn 2 to turn 3, 97 back on point.
Hands out the window, thank you. These guys are running very patient with one another. Buescher now coming through. The 17's the one. I wonder how much pace he has. I think he saved the most tire.
I think that loss of the lead is probably going to bring the 23 to pit road.
Well, let's listen into the 23, what they're saying on the radio.
Pace is really good right now. Good job.
Pace, that's going to be a word you hear a lot because they have set a target. How fast can you go? What's the appropriate time? If it was unlimited tires, I think you would pit every 10 laps.
Yeah,
run as hard as you can. But Blaney, who's, he's 30 seconds behind from coming to pit road, that was basically because, he needed to use those tires. We have another car slow, the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This is around turn 12. The pink walls kind of jump out at you.
The damaged vehicle at Jimmy Johnson trots by.
I wonder what's happening to the 47 here.
All right, caution.
And there is our first yellow of the day.
What does this do for the guys? What does this do for the guys that stayed on the racetrack there, Steve?
Well, now it's an unfortunate situation because the guys with newer tires are going to be back there in 10th. But I believe what you do now is you can see as we sit on board the Arby's onboard camera. As crazy as it sounds, we're going to burn 2 laps of yellow, which will get us to 7 to go in the stage. I almost think you stay on the racetrack just to run 4 or 5 laps to come down pit road and try to flip the stage. I think you're kind of pot committed.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see. Maybe these crew chiefs think I'm crazy and they just can't stay on those older tires, but that's what I would be thinking.
I would say, though, that in a way, Steve,
Reached up here to turn my rocker fan on.
you heard talk about the battery problems for Stenhouse as we sit here with the Arby's onboard camera, so no power there. That's the reason for the caution. But Steve, if you expand the window here, right, you kind of kick the can down the road a little bit, save yourself a set of tires later in a race, right? Give yourself some more options.
Pit strategy sometimes is like hitting traffic. Sometimes you just want to sit in traffic on the interstate and just stick with your plan. Other times you get off the on-ramp, 4 side streets, turn left, turn right. You do all this stuff. You come back on the interstate and you pull right next to the guy who sat in traffic. You go, man, I've been working way harder than you, and we've gone the same distance. I haven't accomplished anything. And that would be my challenge here, is I would want to stay out and kick that can down the road and save a set of tires. What I would have to ask my driver is, are we going to get wrecked? Like, how out of control are you? Because we're going to fire off at the front of this stage because I don't want you to get shoved in the barriers and end our day. And, Dale, that's where you and I have to be on the same page. You have to believe in my plan, but you have to have veto power. You're the only guy in the car. If you say, buddy, if you leave me out here, I'm going to hit one of these concrete barriers or get pushed into it, and there's nothing I can do.
When this event was announced, we were all anxious to get here. We were all curious how it would unfold. And now that we've arrived, we've had a front row seat of what the United States Navy and Naval Base Coronado is all about. And let me tell you 100%, it is not disappointing. Craving a cheesesteak? Arby's has you covered. Race to yours today by texting RACE to 27297 and order in the app.
Think they ordered the ships. Think we could get one up here?
That's right.
I don't know. Think they got security clearance? Can we get
have
all the way up to the bridge?
We have a connection.
Yeah, man.
They'll help us out. All right, let's go down to pit road. Here's Trevor.
Yeah, guys, we've had the 20 car of Christopher Bell come to pit road while the pits were still closed, so nobody else was on pit road to make that scheduled driver change with Brent Cruz. We know that Christopher Bell has that left fracture on his wrist and is not able to really hang on to the wheel at these road courses, as bumpy as it is, make the gear changes and do all the things he needs to do. So Brent Cruz has worked all week to be ready with this team. They've made pedal extensions to put in the car for him. They've gotten him switched over. They practiced this multiple times, as well as being in the sim with Christopher Bell to get used to this next-gen Cup car. We'll see where it goes from here, but they are working to get him back on the track before the pace car gets back.
You know, you could look at this one way or another, right? Glass half empty. This is a really tough racetrack, and I don't know if Bell, you know, this is going to be the hardest version of him to try to run with that fractured left wrist. Glass half full is the pace laps are so long that you, other than going to the back of the field, you don't lose a lap. So this car can be just, you know, go out there and run that race. I'm excited to see Brent Cruz. Did a really nice job in that O'Reilly race yesterday.
Toyota onboard camera giving us these great shots of this driver change, and you know, there's part of Christopher Bell that thinks and he should stay in this car. You know, that's the emotional side of this, is he's going to experience what it's like to watch his car go around the racetrack without him behind the wheel, and that's never a fun thing for a race car driver. But it's a smart decision considering his health and allowing himself to heal fully and not have long-term issues. A lot of cars coming to pit road here.
Yeah, a little split here. I love the idea of staying housed. I like the gamble.
I guess some of these guys, though, are so far back in the field, they don't want to be that first car on old tires. Kim.
And you see Brad Keselowski making his stop. They'll take 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Just the same complaint we've been hearing, no grip on the racetrack. Trevor.
Yeah, Austin Hill with that win in the O'Reilly Series yesterday has carried a lot of speed into the Cup car all weekend long. Right now, he feels like turns 3 and 12 are where he's lacking the most grip. Actually, with the front tires, as we've heard everyone else complaining about rear grip.
Great win here yesterday, as Trevor said, for Austin Hill, and a big celebration for everyone at Richard Childress Racing. Restart when we come back. Going to be 6 laps to go, stage 1 in the Anduril 250 when we return to the green flag. Now let's hear from drivers talking about racing at Naval Base Coronado.
Yeah, it is super cool to be a part of really anything that's a first, but racing at the Navy base on this special weekend is just, it is awesome.
Seeing what has happened the last couple of weeks, what they've built up for this to be, and how passionate and special it is for everyone to be here.
Race on a cool course with like going from turn 2 to 3 and seeing the aircraft carrier is awesome. So yeah, it's pretty unreal.
The Navy's been great to us. Coronado's been awesome to us. You know, just to be a part of this, something historic like this, especially, you know, 250 years of America is I don't think you could have had a better combination.
To see all the active you know, members of the military and their families get to come out here and enjoy it as well. I mean, we're bringing the racing to them. You know, so many of the community around here have talked to us and about how excited that they are to actually see NASCAR for the first time.
I think you said it best earlier, Steve, when we came on the air for the broadcast. Been very humbling for all of us in the NASCAR community to come here and be a part of this.
Drivers getting ready to go back green, headed toward the chicane. It's a few feet away from get back up to speed. Some cars on old tires, some cars on new tires. It's going to be quite an experience in the middle of the pack.
Front row, Shane Van Gisbergen and Chris Buescher on older tires. SVG, the control car, as the leaders make their way to the Poet restart zone. Green again.
A fire down into turn 1 on these old tires. Cars with a lot more speed back here in 8th, 9th, 10th, and further back, bearing down on you in the braking zone here of turn 2.
Blaney in that outside lane on tires, came down, got him at lap 10, and he's aggressive on the restart.
Look how he can accelerate out of the corners, 3 wide into turn 2 or turn 3 here. Left-hander.
Well, I mean, he's going out, in, just moving all over the place, making it work on the restart.
Front 3, though, did a very nice job kind of working together and being patient in the 97, 17, and 23. If Blaney runs you down, that's okay. He's using an extra set of tires. Your goal is to not stay in front of Blaney. Your goal is to either make it to the end of the stage and score points. If that's your goal, you might also pit just before the end of the stage for track position.
That is a great camera to give you an understanding of the big bump on the back straightaway out of turn 5.
Top 3 tight, coming to that Red Bull corner. Turn 7 over to turn 8. Van Gisbergen in front of Buescher. Bubba Wallace, first guy on tires is Blaney, and there's the second guy on tires, Ryan Preece, also made a pit stop at lap 10. Steve, you talk so often about leading your group, 12 and 60, racing for that position of those drivers that have made a pit stop.
That's absolutely right. Just be at the front of whatever the strategy is. We'll see which is the correct one. We have a lot of road to cover before you have any idea which is going to pay off the best. The front 3 are like in Blue Angels formation. They are not getting out of line at all. Working like that. Bubba Wallace letting the 17 back in. They know the 12's coming, right?
Blaney to the inside. It's going to take that spot easy. Bubba's going to drop back right behind him as they go down into this turn here. Back to the right. All this high-speed section, really tough on the tires. Headed toward the chicane.
I really liked the Blue Angels correlation there. Blaney said, I'm not buying it. Ford Racing onboard camera. He passes Bubba Wallace and now has his sights set on the top 2.
What Blaney has to ask himself, or has to know, he has to be communicated to by his crew chief, Jonathan Hassler, is how hard do you want me to go? Like, what am I trying to get out of these rear tires? I think it's very important. The communication from the pit box to the driver is going to be of utmost importance.
Again, the acceleration, making another pass. Down here into turn 3. Oh, he had to check up just a little bit to make sure not to get in the back of the 97 of Shane, and now to the outside.
I mean, 2 for 1? Are you serious? 2 to 3 to 4, and Blaney letting it hang out on those tires.
He'll be on the inside here going into turn 5, easily taking the spot away. And now he can just sit there and ride, because he, to your point, Adam, the next car on tires that the 12 is racing here. He's got to get by these 2 cars as well. He'll do that right there with Buescher on the back straightaway, headed to 6. So for a little while, Blaney can just be super easy. Doesn't have to run hard at all. He's not going to get caught by the 97. Just sit there and wait till the 60 car starts to put a little pressure on and decide if he wants to start to ramp it back up.
And with what I've seen, if you're in the 97, you're trying to get to basically 3 to go in the stage. You know, the leader will close pit road with 2 to go. So I imagine with 3 to go. Now, if you think you can pit at 2 to go, but I think Blaney's going to be so far up the road, 3 to go is going to be your only option.
Larson back there hounding the back bumper of that 17 of Buescher.
Larson actually came to pit road under green 1 lap prior to Blaney and Preece. He came at lap 9.
Oh,
in the
contact!
5th position. And
wow.
Preece, Van Gisbergen get together.
Oh, Shane ain't happy. Got him running him a little bit low there. Gives him a little tap in the door.
Yep.
Larson gets another one going by Buescher.
Shane, watch Shane.
Look at this.
Hey, you want to play rough? I'll play rough.
We were working together. Why'd you hit me? Shane's like sending a signal.
He kicks that rugby ball after he wins. A little bit of a rugby mentality there with Van Gisbergen.
That was awesome.
See A.J. Allmendinger and Ty Gibbs back there on the back end of this. Let's take another look at it. On board, the 60 dives in 12B right here, passing zone, but it's a little bit of a dive bomb, and Shane's not ready for it. Spotter's not really able to see this area of the racetrack well enough to give Shane the information he would need that the 60 is going for the move. Shane's super angry about it, so he's in a position right here to make it really tough, and he's going to do that. Honestly, Priest could have easily wrecked the car right there, but Shane was pretty upset.
And now he'll pull over. I don't think, it's not that SVG would have been mad if they were racing for the lead late in the race. That's reasonable. But he goes, I'm out here cruising. You know I'm cruising. I'm going to let you have the position. You didn't have to dive bomb me. I think that is where the frustration's coming from.
We talk so much about deposits and withdrawals, right? And so that's a little bit of a message sent about how the deposit and withdrawal was handled in the exchange between Preece and Van Gisbergen. So Larson now up to 2nd. Preece is 3rd. SVG first of those drivers that's yet to come to pit road.
All right, so if you look at the pylon on the left-hand side, maybe we can look at the last time they came to pit road. There you go. So the cars with no number next to them, that means they have yet to pit. The 97 of SVG, the 17 of Buescher, the 23 of Wallace. I believe this is the lap you're going to see them as we see Ty Gibbs jump out of line. It'll be interesting to see who else comes with them. Maybe they kind of, you talk about being the best of your strategy. You could also switch strategies. So let's just see what they're going to do. Blaney could pit the next lap, but this lap, anybody who's behind the leader, if they're going to want to come to pit road, now's the time.
2 times in a row, this 54 dove to the inside of the 16, and finally AJ says enough. Here you can have it.
2 good road racers there. Talking about Allmendinger and Gibbs.
Right back on board with the Celsius onboard camera. AJ Allmendinger right here in 6th position behind the 54 of Ty Gibbs, headed down the straightaway toward the chicane again.
Well, it's great perspective, isn't it?
It sure is. I was expecting some good results from AJ and from the 54. Ty Gibbs been very good on the road courses over the last couple of years in the next-gen car. And here's the 97, Steve, on pit road.
As expected, 97's going to pit. There'll be a few others that join in. Buescher's on pit road as well. Backwards pit stops. We heard about a penalty on the 7. Remember, the driver's on the left-hand side, so for the pit crews, these are very awkward. Also for the driver, Kim.
And before we went green, it was a debate on whether or not to flip the stage or run through the end of the stage for Bubba Wallace. Obviously lost any position to get stage points, so they brought him down 4 tires. Marty, balance is neutral.
Chris Buescher as well as Shane Van Gisbergen on pit road here with 3 laps to go in stage 1. In fact, SVG was told, hey, pit this lap. He said, are you sure it might be worth going for the stage points here? SVG talking about the lack of rear grip, but man, Steve, the playbook wide open for Steven Dorn, and these guys pitting right now, though, because they, in essence, have an extra set of tires versus the rest of the field.
And at this point, it's a strategy call. This is going to sound crazy, but for the 97, I actually want you to go very slow. For the next 2.5 laps, I need you to just really pace it and save as much tire as possible. If Buescher wants to go by, let him go by, and there you go. We're going to just let the 17 go. on board with the Red Bull Cam, looking back.
3 to go. Opening stage, Blaney leads Larson, Priest, Gibbs, and Allmendinger at the very entertaining street course in San Diego. Caution number 2, it's for Bubba Wallace, who's back on the pit lane. We were nervous about their stop. Here's what happened on track to bring out the caution.
Right front just leaves the car. As you can see, got a little fortunate. It was where it was on the racetrack, turn 9, I believe.
He's going slow because he knows that he's going to lose the wheel because the nut come off back in turn 6. So he went probably another 3 or 4 corners understanding that he had a wheel coming loose. Here's the reason.
So Hamlin looks good. I'm not sure what happens. You see that either the gun is still in reverse or the sock. That's what it is. The gun's in reverse. He pulls it back. He re-engages it. Well, the jack man sees him pull the gun off, so he drops the jack. These tires have to be tightened up with a car in the air. He obviously couldn't get it done. The result being the wheels falling off. And as you mentioned it, Dale, back in turn 6, the actual nut itself falls off. There's a mechanism that will keep it on the car if you get it started a little bit, but I don't even think that lug nut even got started on the threads. Yeah, remember on these cars right here, you want to know what a lug nut looks like. There you go. That's what it looks like right there, and they are backwards. So when you're watching the old lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, forget all that if you're going to tighten a wheel on one of these cars, because it's actually lefty to tighten it and righty to loosen it.
I've always screwed that up anyway.
It's unfortunate for the 23 because I thought they were managing an amazing race. Let's listen in.
They're f***ing win. You gotta be kidding me.
You got to stay in this race, though. We've seen in the truck race and in the O'Reilly Series race, you're never out of it. I mean, there's a lot that's going to happen in this next stage, and especially in stage 3. The cautions are going to start to come in bunches. We're going to have all kinds of carnage and chaos in stage 3. That happens in every single one of these races. Why would it not happen here? I think you got to reel this guy in. Say, come on, Bubba. I know this is not favorable, but let's just try to, keep our wits here and try to figure out how to get ourselves back in this race. As long as the damage isn't too severe. I know he drug the race car around the racetrack there for quite a while. Could be some damage to the underbody.
2-lap penalty. So, you got to find your way back onto the lead lap. There'll be some cautions to make that happen. So when you're here, you got to take in the sights. I'm saying the I-bar is a must. Steve now seems thirsty. Dale, we got to get you over there, man. You'd fit in.
Yeah, no problem.
Just grab a mug and order a drink, but don't put your phone on the bar.
Oh, don't tell him. Don't tell him. He's buying for everyone.
The WNBA Commissioner's Cup Championship is exclusively on Prime. Next Tuesday, Asia Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces take on Brianna Stewart and the New York Liberty in a can't-miss matchup. It all tips off Tuesday, June 30th, 6:30 Eastern Time. Stage 1 going to end under caution here at Naval Base Coronado. Wheel comes off for Bubba Wallace. Ryan Blaney out front. He's pacing him around.
I'm like a child. I want to draw on that screen so bad and like outline the map on the naval base, right?
Yes.
Like it's because it's hard to believe it's there. It really doesn't look real when we get high above the whole area.
But we've done so many things over the years in our careers on the TV side in a studio where you go in front of a green screen and you create this magical background that really does not exist. We're doing those shots here, but everything you see is absolutely 100% real. It just doesn't seem like it could be.
See the field snaking through the chicane, headed toward the final corner of the racetrack, turn 16. Could get the green and checker to complete the stage.
Blaney going to get the stage win. You know, top 5 in points. He's not had a lot of stage wins this year. This will only be his second, despite the fact he comes in 3rd in points. But look at all those drivers that are going to collect big-time stage points and need them. You think about the slide that Preece has been on, Larson, Gibbs, you know, fighting for a spot inside the top 5. And think about Carson, Hocevar, and where he's at. Logano comes in below the chase cut line. So a whole lot there going on that will help these guys after one stage complete in San Diego. The atmosphere, outstanding. We're glad you're with us. It's NASCAR on Prime from San Diego, California. NASCAR on Prime is brought to you by Anduril, official defense partner of NASCAR. Aspen Dental. Visit aspendental.com. Get smiling today. And by Arby's. We have the meats. Here's Trevor Bayne.
We came into this race with a lot of questions around strategy, around tire wear, around pace. Take a listen to this radio from the 71 and Michael McDowell.
You just need to start working the pace so that I have a target of what we need to hit, you know, and you just tell me what that target is.
Yeah, 10 Roger, your pace was pretty good at those, if you could run a 142 the whole time.
We're starting to see these teams paint a clearer picture of what their targets, what their goals are. Michael McDowell is one of those drivers that went 17 laps on that first set of tires. So for him, that pace that they're looking for is a 142. For somebody that goes 10 laps, it may be a little bit quicker, guys.
Got to applaud Goodyear for bringing a tire where you actually have to play a game. You know, you have to manage it. That's what drivers love to do because every driver believes that they can do that better than the next guy. And it's another thing in their tool belt to say, hey, I can manage tires better than you. I can make better judgment better than you. I can do this better. And so all drive, you know, if they make tires where they run the same lap time every lap, it really makes it tough to have any kind of a strategy from behind the wheel. It's pretty awesome to have this kind of tire wear and fall off and have that mix into the strategy.
So compelling to watch it play out.
Another split in decisions, although mostly one-sided as we see the majority of the top 10 come to pit road. Priest, one of the only that stayed on the racetrack. Trevor.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney, one of those drivers that pitted at lap 10. He's now coming again at lap 20, so 10 laps per set of tires. He has been a driver that's decided to push the pace to keep track position. We saw him as fast as 1:36 lap times on for that last run as he took the lead from Shane Van Gisbergen. Marty.
Saw Kyle Larson come down pit road along with Ryan Blaney. He said the car much better on this run. He said, I have no idea if that's the track evolution or the changes you made, but that rear grip got way better on that run for Kyle Larson. It's interesting, Steve, he's talked about the split. Some guys staying out here at this stage 1 caution, and others deciding to make their stop now.
Adam, there's a lot of road maps to the end of this race. If you're wondering if your driver's on the right one, that's totally fine, because I'm a little wondering who's on what the right one as well, because it's a lot of ways these guys are breaking up this race.
Just stick with us.
Yeah,
we'll get there in the final stage.
I've learned to just wait until the test is over, and then I'll tell you what the answer should have been.
I'm really good at that, too.
Yeah, that's my bet.
17 drivers stayed out. They're not on the same strategy, and Ty Gibbs, the first of those that did come down pit road here. Danielle, what do you have for us?
Yeah, Double A, let's get into our stage break, brought to you by Snapdragon. And tires, certainly the name of the game, Corey. On that late caution, you saw Blaney restart 7th and drive to the lead. What do you expect here in stage 2?
I think these guys are going to have to put their toes on how much tire you burn early in the run. Do I want to go past guys who are trying to pace that run, save some tires for the back end, and then try to play defense the back half of the run? Certainly more tire degradation, I believe, than anybody anticipated, because those Goodyear Eagles are trying to push that 3,600-pound vehicle. And we rode along with a foot camera of SVG, and he barely cracking the throttle. So these guys are really trying to squeeze every ounce of grip these Goodyear Eagles have to give.
SVG, Chris Buescher, both on the same strategy, flipped the stage there. What do you make of the 17 versus the 97? Does Buescher have something for SVG? What'd you see out of that car stage 1?
He is, and I also don't think that we've seen all of SVG's cards yet. He's managing this race, trying to learn what position he needs to put himself in to provide his team the best options. Those guys are sitting, him and the 17 are both sitting on an extra set of tires for later in this race if needed. So, but Chris Buescher, he's not going to let him have it easy. And also, I got to give a tip of the cap to Ryan Priest.
Yeah, I loved that move earlier.
Two things. I hated to see the right front of the 23 come off, because I did not have SVG pointing at the window and letting Bubba Wallace by earlier in the race on my bingo card. So we've seen some players. We haven't seen SVG run away with it just yet. These guys are keeping them honest.
They certainly are, Adam. There is no lack of excitement or even contact. Priest wasn't scared to get into SVG earlier. Can't wait for stage 2.
I can't wait for part 2, actually, of that little dust up. And now this relief lap is sponsored by National Debt Relief. Getting out of debt is easier when you have all of us behind you. And it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. who returns to the lead lap here in San Diego.
Yeah, that leaves Bubba Wallace as the only car a lap down. Actually, he's 2 laps down right now, but if he were lucky enough to get another yellow, I know NASCAR is going to be very careful to not have to throw a yellow because of how long the cautions are here. So it's going to take something substantial to bring one out, but Bubba Wallace is hoping to get a couple quick ones here as soon as possible to be able to turn his race around.
Had a penalty for Chase Elliott over the wall too soon, and so he'll have to start at the rear. And we'll reset some of the other strategies, but first let's hear about the race leader, Ryan Priest, down to Marty.
Yeah, Ryan Priest asked his crew chief, Derek Finley, did I miss the call to pit road, or is this our plan? And he said, yes, this is now our plan. See if they're going to try and run to the flip here in stage 2. I just asked Derek, can you make it to that point? And he said, I believe we can, and we have to get on everybody else's tire strategy. So we may lose some track position here, but I can't afford not to have that extra set in stage 3 like everybody else will.
All right, let's put that in the Dakota ring. What they're looking for right there is they need to run about 15 more laps to come to pit road before the end of stage 2, and then would stay out when others pit.
A little bit of debris, it looked like, on the brake.
Oh, yeah.
Duct cover on the right front of the 60 car, so a little concerning because that's blocking the top if that's open.
A little perspective here. We saw Ty Gibbs win the race off pit road. He ran it long, so did Ryan Blaney. They were 1-2 off the pit lane, 18th and 19th prior to the choose. So they've got some ground to make up. For SVG and Chris Buescher, who were racing for position, they were 6th and 7th prior to the choose. And look at this, points as we run. Hamlin only 6 behind, long way to go here, but what a job he has done, winning 3 in a row and chopping into that huge advantage that Tyler Reddick had enjoyed. Front row, Preece and Zilic. They're coming to the Poet restart zone as we begin stage 2 at Naval Base Coronado.
Zilic to the inside here. Into the braking zone on Preece. He's going to take the spot away. Zilic lost a ton of spots early in this race. See if they've got the bounce on that car a little bit better.
His teammate charging as well. Orange and white, number 1. Ross Chastain up to 3rd in the running order.
Boy, they put Brent Cruz in that 20 car and threw him right into the fire here in the top 10.
I was thinking the same thing.
My goodness. Wow. He's ready for it. SVG to the inside of the 71. Off in the turn 5.
Well, there's that dip coming from 5 to 6.
It's worse the further left you are, Adam. If you're far to the right against the wall, it's not quite as bad. It's really, really tough when the drivers go through there. More contact as we're 3 wide here.
Boy, that funnel there gets really narrow. Got to be careful racing side by side 6 to 7. This the run over to 8.
Oh,
John Hunter Nemechek getting aggressive with Brent Cruz.
Brent just hasn't been in the next gen enough to really know how wide it is, so no surprise he felt like he's getting squeezed into the wall there, but he had little room, so just trying to learn where the corners of the race car are. It's something that actually you have to figure out. Every car is different.
High school age, getting an Ivy League education here today.
Trevor gave us a little insight that he was in the sim as early as this morning. So doing sim all week long, all month long, really trying to prepare for possibly being behind the wheel of this car, and even this morning getting laps in the simulator was Brent Cruz.
Sorry, Dale. Anduril on board for William Byron. Couple of, oh man, green race cars up in front. Now we're heading to the chicane.
William Byron's gonna get 2 for 1 here.
Green's gonna be his favorite color. Got Eric Jones now working over Todd Gilliland.
Todd's gonna take the spot back off into turn 16. Here's the leaders.
I think this is good for Zilic. I understand, you know, everybody's playing a strategy game, but here's a rookie driver that hasn't enjoyed a lot of success throughout the early portion of the campaign. In fact, there have been some bad moments. We know how talented he is, leading laps for the first time in his Cup career. Meanwhile, Busch to work over Ross Chastain. That's for 4th, but Buescher leading that group of cars that pitted at lap 17.
And I think back to what SVG told Corey and everyone at the desk when he said, I don't know how hard to run off the start. I wish I had someone in front of me, and now he has that. He has a rabbit in the 17 of Buescher that he knows.
Look out, there he goes. Contact, Buescher goes around,
the track is
and everybody's trapped. Look at this.
Yeah, that's a scary part because it's around a corner on the straightaway. Everybody keeps going, no yellow.
I mean, we stay green. That's incredible. I didn't know it was possible. All of this happening, turn 5 to turn 6.
Look at Briscoe down the inside. He's still racing. Poor Brent Cruz is still in the middle of it.
Cruz is like, does this always happen on Sunday?
I'm not sure there's a worse blind spot on the track for a car to get spun around. That high-speed connection between turn 5 and turn 6. It is not a straight straightaway. There is a little bit of a kink in it which blocks your vision around the corner.
Let's take a look at this replay, how this kind of started. SVG coming up on Buescher side by side with Chastain. Buescher's gonna block left as SVG gets a run right here. So he gets a little bit of momentum headed toward turn 4. He looks left. It sends the 17 really shallow into that turn. He's gonna slide up the racetrack. SVG's gonna stick the nose in there. Man, they both would want that one back. Very, very lucky with a fast part of the racetrack right there and a blocked racetrack with the 17 broadside that nobody come piling in there.
I don't know where Brad Keselowski is, but SVG had the run-in with Preece. He's now had contact with Buescher. Could he get the RFK trifecta before the afternoon is out?
We talk a lot about communication all around the racetrack, and there are multiple locations for spotters. And shockingly enough, right here, look right here. Here are the spotters on the bus, the double-decker bus. It couldn't have happened more in front of them. What a great job by the spotters, quickly communicating to those drivers that right around that blind corner, there's a stack up.
Here's what's crazy. They're racing for fourth here and basically racing for the lead in their strategy cycle. So this is enormous when you think big picture about this race.
It's a small wreck that magically didn't turn into a big wreck.
Awesome for Riley Herbst, who's up to 4th place after all of that. Chastain's still in 5th.
Buescher now riding 6th. Van Gisbergen is 8th. Lost some ground in the exchange, both by position and to the race leader. Zilich continues out front of Preece here.
With tires being a premium, how bad did that beat up the tires on that 17 car? Is that going to pay, pay some dividends or some negatives on the back end of the run here? I don't believe he flat spotted him. Seemed to keep the car kind of rolling even as he's rotating around and spinning. I got to tell you though, Riley Herbst, he's crawled through this field. During the first run, he gained 10, 11 spots. We saw Bubba Wallace's speed, his teammate. 35 car has great speed as well today. Battling with Buescher there side by side. A little contact right there. Doesn't look like that spin hurt the 17 car too much as he takes that spot back from Riley. And a little damage to the right front of the 97 from the contact.
Yeah.
Marty.
Yeah, Junior, after both of those drivers caught their breath for just a moment, Chris Buescher said he feels like he has splitter damage. SVG trying to make a pass there on Riley Herbst. He said he feels like he has that notch damage. And you pointed out, Junior, there you can see it on the right front. But Stephen Doran told his driver, SVG, listen, that damage should not hurt us. You should be fine.
Yeah, it looks like cosmetic damage. Unless, Steve, it's kind of hurt the ability for the cooler, the brake ducts and stuff to get the air properly to the brake rotor and caliper.
Yeah, I think the damage, to your point, is high enough, and on the headlight is not going to be a big hindrance here. But we discussed in the pre-race about, 1,000 ways to lose the race, and there was a perfect one. I think they're going to get away with it, but that was a scary moment for both the 97 and the 17 and about 10 other cars that were coming into view.
I thought for sure they were going to pile in there.
I'm like you. I just cannot believe that we didn't have a big crash, big pile up, and another caution.
How about the 3rd place car of Austin Hill? Dale, you mentioned how great of a weekend he's had. Won that O'Reilly race yesterday, and here he is running 3rd in this Cup race. He talked after that O'Reilly race about how much confidence he gained running the Cup race at the Chicago street course, finishing inside the top 10, feeling like he belonged. We all know he has the talent, but sometimes you just have to prove it even to yourself, paying dividends again as he's inside the top 3 here.
A lot of emotion in that group yesterday. First win for Richard Childress Racing since we lost Kyle Busch. And RC was very emotional in victory lane, celebrating with Austin Hill, and a wonderful tribute post-race for that team. Let's go back and see how it unfolded yesterday. An eventful day. Boy, it was a long race, so much went on. But it came down to Taylor Gray leading final lap. Austin Hill, a little bump, a little run, and brings it back to the checkers, and then the celebration around the 8.
Yeah, it's just an emotional moment, as you pointed out. Just a great job by Austin Hill. Now, it's worth pointing out, if you want to know, there was a rule that full-time drivers couldn't run multiple series. There was an absolute dispensation made for the 33 of Austin Hill. It was never his plan to be in this car. We know what has happened that put him in this car with Kyle Busch. So I totally agree with NASCAR. I think allowing Richard Childress to just kind of stay the course was the right call, but that's why we didn't see other drivers like SVG drive for you, Dale. He runs Junior Motorsports. He'll actually be in your car at Sonoma next week.
That's right. These guys battling still for position. SVG, Buescher, maybe a little careful.
I was going to say, do business a little different, maybe, right?
He's not going to touch him, man. He could.
Tiptoe around. Heading toward the middle portion of stage 2. Keep an eye on the battle for 4th as we go side by side. Connor Zilich, your leader. For more than 40 years, San Diego's Qualcomm has been a hub of innovation. And this weekend, it was on full display as our NASCAR on Prime team used Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultras powered by Snapdragon, a mobile platform from Qualcomm to capture the energy around the track. I love the look here at turn 5. Such a fun weekend in San Diego. Hey, we're setting a little history here. Connor Zilic, first teenager to lead a Cup road course event. How about that?
Christopher Bell's gotten out of that 20. Brent Cruz is in. We could have a second teenager lead.
There you go.
A Cup race again today, maybe.
I wouldn't write him off, that's for sure. 2 young, talented drivers. All right, let's get an update. Connor Zilic, teenager number 1. What do you have for us, Marty?
Adam, I thought you brought up a great point earlier saying, man, what a confidence boost this is for Connor Zilic to be able to lead here and show the strength and also do it on the different strategy than everybody behind him. And he stretched out this lead to 3 seconds over Ryan Preece. When I talked to Randall Burnett, his crew chief, this afternoon, he said, listen, I would love to tell you, normally I would tell you just a top 10 would be great for us, but he has so much pace at these road courses. I expect a top 5 today. It's going to be a long run here for Zilic, but he's doing a fantastic job here in stage 2.
He is doing a fantastic job just setting this pace out front. 12 laps to go in the stage. Where this car is in points, I would imagine they're not thinking about winning the stage. They'll probably pit right before the stage.
Priest back there dirt tracking it off turn 2.
I noticed that too.
He must be coming to pit road soon because he's eating them tires up. They're like, hey, come into pit road, so you just start burning them off.
Talked about that battle for 4th going to break. Van Gisbergen gets by Buescher. They both get by Chastain. So the SVG 4th, Buescher 5th, and Chastain back to 6th.
I'm sorry, Dale. I was going to say, how about the 7 of Suarez, the recovery to 9th? Remember, he had a pit road penalty. So that's a great job of recovering that issue. He had crew members over the wall too soon earlier in the race. Trevor, 33 of Austin Hill, running 3rd.
Sir, as I walked down pit road after that first pit stop, one of the tire sets that stood out to me was the 33 of Austin Hill. There were cords on both the left rear and the right front of that car. So Austin Hill got everything he could out of those tires. I believe they wanted to go a little bit longer than lap 13 for that pit stop, but had to come down with that issue, Kim.
Well, I talked to crew chief Brandon McSwain, who is the crew chief for Ross Chastain, just about their approach coming into this weekend, knowing their teammates SVG and Connor are so good. And he said, we know how great our teammates are at this type of course. Mentally, we kind of have to recalibrate and not try to overreach, not get ahead of our skis with what a solid day looks like for the one car. And he said, we're honest about it. Ross cannot do what SVG does, but he still uses Shane as a resource, just bouncing things off. Are you feeling what I'm feeling? That kind of thing, just to get Ross in the right headspace. The rear, though, has not been kind to Ross. They did make an adjustment. It is better this run, and right now he's sitting solidly in the 6th position.
Executing a good race is Ross Chastain. Here's something we should update. If you go back to 8th and 9th in the running order, that's where you'll find this guy, Ty Gibbs, and Kyle Larson. They're the top 2 drivers of those that ran it long, pitted at the end of stage 1, pitted at lap 21, so something to keep in mind as you manage stage 2, when you pit, and where you go from here. It's back to what we said earlier. You want to be the best in your group.
Issue on the racetrack in 12B, the 20 car. Looks like he's blown the engine in this car here.
This will be a yellow. We'll see if anybody tries to jump to pit road. Up.
Won't start up.
Brent Cruz running his first handful of laps in this car, replacing Christopher Bell after a few laps in stage 1.
You wonder if this is a mechanical failure or if perhaps there was a little bit of a driver error just because he doesn't, to your point, Dale, he doesn't run this car a whole lot.
Good. It just goes through all the gears like neutral.
Yeah, you would think it would. Trevor, what you got?
Yeah, Brent Cruz reporting a gearbox issue in this Cup car. Keep in mind, it's much different than the pattern he'd be used to in the O'Reilly's car. Not sure if that contributed, but that is the issue.
Yeah, the thing is you'd think the problems would have in the, the problem would be in the O'Reilly's car because you go from a sequential to an H pattern. Let's listen.
No, I don't believe that one's on the driver. It looked like it was in gear and the thing just starts to free spin. Perhaps broke it looks like it's out the pipe. So like maybe he had a transaxle failure that then led to an engine issue because it over-revved as he was trying to find a gear. But I didn't see anything on there that would say it had anything to do with Brent Cruz. It looks to me like something just gave up.
Let's go big picture with this team for a minute. You rewind to the Coke 600, Christopher Bell almost wins it. He ends up second when the rains came. Goes to Nashville, you think he's going to win. Denny gets him on that late restart, but he's a runner-up again. Had vaulted himself up to 7th in points, and you're like, all right, here comes the 20. The hard crash at Michigan. He runs out of fuel late last week at Pocono. Everything that's unfolded here today, and all of a sudden, this team is going in the wrong direction with a driver that's banged up. Tough last couple of weeks, last few weeks really for this 20 team. You want Christopher to get well, and then you hope luck returns to their side. And we have to remind everyone, if you weren't watching a couple of weeks ago, just a devastating hit for Bell at Michigan.
Yeah, the 9 of Chase Elliott gets a little bit loose, and they make contact, and up into the outside wall they go. Hard hits for both of these drivers, honestly. This is an insane visual of one of the hardest wrecks that I've ever seen in my life, and one of the hardest in the next gen for sure. Chase very concerned about the well-being of Christopher Bell, and Bell now a couple of weeks beyond that crash, getting his wrist x-rayed every week, trying to progress as fast as possible. You have to wonder, you know, what the next week entails in terms of being able to be good enough to go to Sonoma. Sonoma, not quite as tough of a racetrack, not as bumpy, more smooth, more flowing than the street course here in San Diego. So it's possible that he may give it a go and try to run the entire race there.
The one challenge at Sonoma is it is a track where you can see some stack ups, right? I'm not a doctor. I don't know what, I mean, we know he has a fractured left wrist, but you would hate for some sort of contact with your hand being on the wheel and damage it more, because to your point, Adam, you know, he's getting down there in the cut line, but we expect this 20 to make the chase, and you want, you know, you want full steam ahead for Bell when the chase reset comes.
I mean, literally, it is a case of take your medicine, right? And I love the maturity of him to understand the importance of getting out of the car today. So pit road is open here, halfway through stage 2. We got a few given up spots to come in.
Almost to the point where they can only run a few more with the fuel on board, which we didn't think fuel was going to be a conversation, but Priest doing such a great job managing the tires and getting fortunate with the cautions coming out the way they were, with Derek Finley calling the shots on this team. He's kind of peeling off the racetrack and onto pit road. Kim.
We just talked about Ross Chastain and the rear issues that he was having. He told his team, I still need more rear grip everywhere. Just avoided, though, a collision there on pit road, Marty.
Interesting move here for the RFK cars. Chris Buescher coming down, as well as his teammate Ryan Preece, which is also interesting, Steve, because they just had a debate on the 60 radio a moment ago when we were under green that they had built such a gap that they were considering staying out to the end of the stage. But Derek Finley making the call to bring his driver down pit road right now.
Well, as Adam said earlier, you kind of kick the can down the road, but then at some point, the best choice is to take service. So we'll see if this works out for the 60. Close call on pit road between Chastain and I think it was
Brad Keselowski.
Yeah.
19 drivers stay out. Circle lap 30. That's when these guys pitted. Could play a big role later on. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Board on the track built for the street. I'd say the aerial coverage is quite nice today. NASCAR on Prime welcomes you back to Southern California. You're watching the Anduril 250 from Naval Base Coronado. Riding with Brad Keselowski, the BuiltSubmarines.com onboard camera.
Brad's had a little bit of contact with the wall. They're working on that, and it's the 45 car of Tyler Reddick and the Pala Casinos Spa and Resorts on board.
54 of Ty Gibbs, the Monster Energy onboard cam. Clean looking dash. I like the colors around the switches.
Front row for the restart as we hit the middle portion of stage 2. Zilich and Hill. They're in the Poet restart zone.
Great restart with Austin Hill here. Even, now we're 3 wide, SVG to the outside. How's this gonna work out?
I'm quite curious. SVG hangs on in his spot. Contacted off the wall in turn 1. Big crash here on the restart.
Fourth crash here.
4th caution of the day.
SVG caught up in it.
To your point, 3 wide. SVG gave up the outside, let him go through there 2 wide, and there still wasn't enough room. Big damage to the 54. You see the right front destroyed on that car. 88 junked. The 97 heavy damage. The 33.
Guy that won yesterday. Guys that we feel like no doubt had an opportunity, maybe the favorites to go out and win it today. All wrecked here on a restart halfway through our 2nd stage.
SVG. Trying to get his car back to the garage.
1/6 the last 7 on road courses as Shane Van Gisbergen started on the pole today.
Austin
Leopard's pretty destroyed.
Austin will be better off just turning around, going back up the hill. He's got a long 10-minute ride back to the front straightaway and see the damage, huge hole in the nose. So Shane went 3 wide, but he backed out pretty early, understanding that wasn't a good decision. So he kind of reset things before they go off into turn 1. And if we get a replay here, I think we're going to see how this all started. So the 33, watch the 33 and the 88. I know SVG goes 3 wide here, but he gets back out of that at one point. 88 resets to the outside line. Just the 33 misses the corner. You know, there's some bumps right there that we've seen cars get upset over and get into the outside wall. We had a massive crash yesterday in the O'Reilly series from a car making contact with the inside wall there. But it looks like the 33 just gets a little bit upset. Right there, you lock up a little bit on the right front, and the car just kind of goes straight a little bit, and he just misses the bottom, right? And that contact with the 88 then sends them into the outside wall. Let's ride on board with SVG, and 33 just misses the corner a little bit, contact with the 88, and then they're all really along for the ride at that point.
Other thing we should point out here, restart rules when it comes to road course racing. You can get out of line once you get out of the restart zone, and you can actually begin the passing process before you get to the start-finish line. So that's what gives the green light to SVG there to make it 3 wide.
Yeah, huge hit. Watch his hit for the 88. Watch the barrier move when he makes contact. Big hit for the 88.
Riding with Ryan Blaney.
He did a pretty good job. This is with Zilich right here. AJ Allmendinger. So on board with Tyler Reddick here.
Wow. Yeah, he gets it's really 2 shots. Hits the wall, comes off the wall, then the 33 sends him into the wall again.
Oh, he looks like he's in a little bit of pain. Remember, he had the broken collarbone last year.
I mean, he's fought injuries, right? I mean, you think about, you know, the wreck at Talladega last spring, missed a race at Texas. That was when he hurt his back, and then you referenced, you know, he fell from the car after winning at Watkins Glen, and didn't miss a race, but had to have Parker Kligerman get in at Daytona for him. So he's dealt with some injuries, Connor Zilic has at a young age.
And these safety workers, you see right here how the wall has kind of an S to it here. I learned this when we went to Chicago. We walked the Chicago street course, and these walls were actually put off the curbing a little bit. When I asked why that was, because they are designed to move. The weight of these walls are calculated for the weight of the cars, the speed of the cars. Remember, these are not safer barriers that we see at the Oval, which have a steel barrier, foam padding, and then a concrete permanent wall. All of these being a temporary racetrack, these are temporary walls, and they want them to give.
So our 4th caution of the day leads to our first red flag. Big hit on the restart. Austin Hill, Connor Zilic get together. SVG among those drivers that had nowhere to go. Look at the sailors wound up, ready to go. Doesn't matter, green, caution, red. I mean, these folks are having the time of their life. And I love that we've got the grandstand down there on the flight deck, so you can hang out, and then you go here, and look at this perspective. This is so cool. This is just straight down behind the Alexa stage.
Yeah, they're right there around turn 3 and 4.
Scan the QR code to shop Logitech G's newest products and hottest deals. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedal of NASCAR. I want to go to yesterday, and Steve, you were talking about how these walls are designed at a street course. Huge hit for Sam Mayer on a restart, and when you see the wall do what it does here, it absolutely takes your breath away. But the wall movement, as you talked about, being displaced is something that kind of benefits the driver in this circumstance.
Yeah, so these are kind of like lock and key. Think about two eyelets. There's a steel eyelet on either wall, and you put a metal rod down in the middle because you want the wall moving. You do not want the wall separating, because then the next car in could hit, and tear the car apart or make more damage than it is. So it's really supposed to kind of move and flex as cars come through this. But now that the wall's been moved, now the angle is not how it's been designed. So these safety crews will pull the wall back to a more straight kind of appearance, because unfortunately, first of all, that hit yesterday was unbelievable. The hit Zilic just hit is another one, and I think the heaviest lift in all of Coronado might be that concrete barrier right there, because I don't think it's done being contacted. We haven't even got into the third stage, Dale, and that was a wreck even with the 97 kind of a boarding 3 wide. I just wonder if we're in a 2 or 3 lap shootout. I think the 97 stays there, and I'm not sure there's any way 3 of them make it through that corner.
Yeah, with the restart zone way back in the exit of the chicane, we built up so much speed into turn 1, and there's bumps and all kinds of things that unsettle the cars through that portion of the racetrack, as you just saw there with the 33 of Austin Hill getting out of shape on entry. And it's we've tested it. We've tested the walls here. We've tested the durability of the race cars pretty heavily.
We go back, we watch the replay, and we listen to Austin Hill radio.
Sorry, guys. Locked up the rear brakes. Made the left rear is pretty destroyed.
Yeah, just easy to, be excited. You're on the front row. You're trying to impress your team and the organization. You've done a great job. You feel like you've got a shot at getting up here and taking the lead. Just kind of got over his skis a little bit on entry there, and he does have some starts in the next gen, but not a ton, especially not a lot on street courses. But he's had good pace, and just was in a situation where he just, tried to get a little bit more than the car was capable of doing. He'll want that one back, and I'm sure he feels a lot of remorse for all the cars that were caught up in this accident. But it took out some big names, right? No bigger than SVG, and it's blown this race wide open for all these other drivers who thought they were going to be racing for second today.
I think that's really, this is the line of demarcation right here. Everyone was very excited to be here, excited for the event. But, driver to driver, when you walk through the garage area, everyone almost just had that sense like we're racing for second. To your point, Dale, that SVG, unless something major happens, we just don't know how we're going to beat them. This is going to light the radios up. Every driver, every crew chief is going to have this conversation. This is going to be energy to any car that's still in the field undamaged, or one that can even be repaired, because anything is possible. You mentioned Bubba Wallace from earlier in the day, Adam, right? He had a wheel come off, drug around, was 2 laps down. If he can get those laps back, there's no other cars a lap down, right? So if he can get those laps back, he looked like he had winning speed. What a turnaround that would be.
The land of opportunity at Naval Base Coronado. Such a gorgeous part of the country. Great to be back in Southern California. Red flag has been lifted. Cars rolling again at Naval Base Coronado. 8 laps to go, stage 2. Riley Herbst being scored as the race leader, snuck by the accident. Few drivers making pit stops. Let's hear from Shane Van Gisbergen. Here's Kim.
Yeah, Adam, out of the Care Center, one of the top contenders today. Shane, walk us through that most recent incident.
Yeah, I got a pretty good start and then kind of backed out of it to let them go. Obviously didn't want to be 3 wide, and then, yeah, not good from there.
All right, that is Shane Van Gisbergen. We also have Connor Zilich, who has been released from the Care Center. Connor, are you okay? And give us your perspective on that incident.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was giving Austin space, and yeah, next thing I was in the wall. So really unfortunate. Hate to end both days for both Shane and I in the Red Bull Chevrolets. We had a really fast car today, got out front, felt really good, but that's how it goes sometimes.
I know that's not the ending you wanted, but what did it feel like to lead the first career Cup Series laps?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You know, I really enjoyed just getting to race out front and you know, lead laps. We had a really fast car. Super proud of the entire team, but yeah, hate to end the day this short. It's been a big weekend for all of us at Red Bull, and having the energy station here, and just hate that, you know, both cars get taken out like that.
Thanks, Connor.
Thank you.
Tough break for the duo from Trackhouse, combined to lead 15 laps before the incident. Now you look at the updated standings, and I'll tell you where I go is right down to Shane Van Gisbergen, 16th on the chase bubble. And you think about the ground they had made up at Charlotte with a good run, top 5 at Nashville, you know, somewhat overachieving. Didn't have good runs at Michigan Pocono, but you were like, they're still above the line. We got 2 road course races coming, and today they exit not even scoring stage points.
Yeah, they came in here assuming, you know, we weren't just going to give Shane the win, but we expected him to get a top 5 and great results in the stages and everything, and now he's going to come out of here at a loss, which is nothing any of us thought would happen. So he goes into Sonoma with a lot to try to accomplish, to be able to give himself that shot to make the chase by when it's all said and done. And Eric Jones right there in 15th. What a job they've done to be able to climb their way through the ranks over the last several weeks. It's just really been impressive. I think they've improved their finishing position at Legacy by 10 spots over the last handful of races from the start of the year. So it's been a tale of 2 seasons all in this first half of the year for Legacy. And you know, it'll be interesting to see if they keep that momentum going.
I see Bubba Wallace up there too. And I'll just point this out, back-to-back free passes for him. He is now back on the lead lap. Carson Hocevar is scored 10th prior to the choose. Here's 77 radio.
Really, it was Austin Hill, front row, and it looked like he just missed turn 1 and stuffed the 97 and the 6. Damn. I guess he wins the bounty.
Yeah, the bounty, the fictional bounty that I guess may have been put on SVG, but you know, that was the way a lot of these guys felt like he was gonna, you know, they were gonna be able to beat him. Is something would have to happen. Well, it's happened, and now the rest of this race is gonna be about who's gonna step up and how. I think it's gonna lead to more chaos, right? Because now all these guys are gonna start taking bigger chances, thinking this is a race I can actually win with SVG off the racetrack.
Well, look at the leaderboard. Herbst leading, winless at the Cup level. Larson, over a year winless, surprising for Kyle Larson. Suarez, unbelievable year, right? Has gone to victory lane. He's thinking, why not us? Zane Smith looking for his first career win. Joey Logano, while he's a multi-time champ, it has not been the 22's year. While a win isn't a guarantee in the chase as it was a year ago, all of those points, just everything, the pressure would be completely off. Heim's part-time. I mean, the storylines are endless on this leaderboard.
Coming off his best run of the year in the top 10. How about 23-11? You're leading, you're 6th, you're 7th, and your 4th driver just got back-to-back free passes and is back on the lead lap, and we know how fast Wallace has been.
We're lined up ready to get another green flag here, and NASCAR's done a good job with quickie yellows, everything they could do to make these cautions shorter. Seems like we just had that accident, and now we're getting ready to go back green to continue stage 2.
Like this. A lot of ways to see the race today.
Come on, number 12. Herbst in charge.
Contact right there with Herbst.
7 to go, stage 2. Herbst on the front row with Larson. Here we go again. Larson falls back to third. Zane Smith through to second on the restart. Logano mixing it up with Suarez. Corey Heim right there in the 67.
To the inside here, down into turn 3. Zane Smith, but the 35 is going to run him hard here. Can he stay to the inside of turn 4? No, side by side for second now with Larson. More contact. Larson around the outside, going to throttle up, take the spot away.
Talk about young drivers getting it done. Celebrate Zane Smith. They've had unbelievable speed. Last 2 weeks didn't get the payoff. Not known as a road racer. Comes here to one of the most difficult places on the streets of Naval Base Coronado. And driver 38 is on point with Larson behind him.
And it's hard to tell just with the movement of all the shots, as quick as this track is, but that's 7 of Suarez, red, white, and blue with the bright blue hood. There seems to be a lot of gap around those vents right there on the right front. So in that wreck or somewhere he has dislodged the hood. That will hurt cooling and performance. We'll see if it hurts the 7. There's a good shot at it. You can see on the left side of that hood.
Look at Hocevar, aggressive in the 77. Racing Tyler Reddick in the 45. Reddick won earlier this year on the road at Circuit of the Americas. Had to start in the back today and trying to make something happen. Came in the championship leader.
Priest right in front of the 24 of Byron, last on pit road at lap 30, kind of leading those who had pitted at lap 30. The group all in front of him on a little bit of an alternate strategy.
We've seen a lot of speed out of 2311 as far as Herbst and Bubba Wallace, but not so much out of Reddick, and now he's up in the top 10. It'll be interesting to see if that pace is in that 45 car as well. Zane Smith continues to lead. If I was Front Row Motorsports, I'd be printing an extension to try to get that guy locked into this team long term. He is helping this program get better and better every single week, making gains and racing up front.
It's his teammate right there, Todd Gillen, that bright green 34.
Todd's having a good weekend.
Yeah, good speed in practice, great speed in qualifying, running 17th at the moment.
Stage point, stage 1, finished 6th in that first run of the race.
AJ hard into the braking zone. Back into that 16 car, sliding around. A little contact right there with Busher, squeezes him a little bit on exit.
Two really good road racers.
Boy, AJ, man, he is a bulldog.
Yes, he is. And he hinted this week he'll be back driving full-time.
He's like, what do y'all think I'm gonna do?
He's like, you kidding me? Of course I am.
A little contact there with a 17. AJ accelerates away toward turn 5. Big bump right here exiting turn 5. You drop down in a drainage trough that goes across the racetrack. Reddick! Oh, Reddick almost lost the back. Oh, man, we've seen so many cars spin and wreck doing that in the braking zone. He slides the back of the car, gets it under control. Great job by the 7 of Suarez to anticipate that, right? Oh, man. Those guys are so close to running over each other. Look at Priest. I'm just going to take what I need here. I'm coming across the racetrack.
I mean, you said Allmendinger's a bulldog. I think Priest,
well, yeah,
same mentality,
cut
right?
From the same cloth for sure.
Modified guy, making it at NASCAR's top level.
We're right on board. Watch all this with Tyler. So he drives down in there, jumps the little bumps through the braking zone of 6, slides the back. Almost a crash. Great job by all these guys.
You talked about the cycle for Priest, Steve, where he is in regard to when they last pitted, leading that group, and by a long shot. Next guy on his strategy, pretty far back behind him. So he's got a lot of breathing room here to manage.
Yeah, and we're closing in, only a few laps away from decision time for Zane Smith, Larson, Herbst, Logano, Heim. You know, your gut would say pit before the end of the stage, cycle yourself to the front through the pit cycle. We'll see what all the leaders do, and what does Priest do? We might see a little bit of a glimpse to his strategy. Does Priest think he can connect from lap 30 to the end of this race on only one more stop? I think time will tell. Probably about 2 or 3 laps from here, we're going to get all those answers from the leaders.
Zane Smith now leading laps for the 3rd time in the last 5 races. We expected it at Michigan, a couple of weeks ago. We knew he would perform it well and have speed there, and he did. He got stage points and had that tire issue, didn't work out for him, got spun out last week, but he's also doing it at tracks where he hasn't always enjoyed success. It speaks to what we were talking about, the value that he brings and the importance of locking him up long time. Let's go down and get a word with Kim Kuhn.
Yeah, and Adam, crew chief Ryan Berginti had discussed with his team about flipping this stage. Right now, though, he's telling his spotter, look for wrecks, the opportunity to dive into pit road before a caution comes out if we see further incidents before they were willing to flip the stage, Trevor.
Yeah, Kim, over the last couple of years, I've had the pleasure of working closely with Corey Heim and his preparation for these races. And the thing that has stood out to me about Corey Heim is how analytical he is, how composed he is. You can see the maturity. This is his first start in a next-gen car at a road course running inside the top 5. But Corey's no stranger to road courses. He won all 4 of the road races in the Truck Series last season, guys.
Well, he's another driver you're gonna, if you've never heard the name, you're gonna hear it a lot. At 23 years old, he's gonna be full-time next year in fast equipment. I'm not sure there's we expect him to kind of splash onto the scene and be competitive right away.
Could see some pit stops soon. Coming to 4 laps to go, stage 2. Zane Smith leads Larson, Herbst, Heim, and Logano. NASCAR on Prime, back live in San Diego. Pit road is going to be busy here as drivers flip stage 2. Zane Smith among those coming in, Kim.
That's right, Adam. We talked exactly about this move by crew chief Ryan Berginti. Not a lot of feedback in terms of the car. Seems to be good for Zane. He did say the concrete is the toughest part for him on the racetrack. Trevor?
Yeah, 67 of Corey Heim hitting pit road as well, getting some 4 fresh Goodyears to take advantage of. They're holding, though, on the right side as they're having issues. Now they're going to take off.
I think he was waiting to get the 43 around him, maybe, and letting the crews come out.
Saw William Byron in, riding here with Tyler Reddick, who had spun around. Now he makes his pit stop as he comes to pit road. Here's the 45 going around. Boy, that was tight. And look who was the first car to dodge him. Denny Hamlin, the 2 that are 1-2 in the championship chase. He was 9th when he went around.
Just looks like he got loose right here. Oh, he feels it starting to slide. He tries to throttle up to try to save it. Briscoe was right behind him, but it looks like he just spun out, losing the rear grip in them tires. And any advantage that he might have had to be able to get some stage points or just trying to hold serve on Denny Hamlin, he's lost that. And here's the 4 car spinning out in turn 4. I think he's had big contact with the wall. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Right front.
My.
Toe link, front damage, steering's off.
You're right. Steering's off. Noah was doing a pretty solid job there, middle of the pack before that spin.
Now you gotta be very careful tiptoeing by him because there's a lot of spots like this that are just blind for drivers.
And the steering of the next GM when the toe links are broke or bent is quite unpredictable. He's got a long way to go to get back around. We got a replay here. Hopefully. All right, let's see. Oh, a little contact with the 91. Magnuson possibly gets into the right rear quarter panel.
Kevin Magnuson making his Cup debut.
So best look we got of that one, but I think there was some contact there, just racing hard. So he's got a long way to go to get back around.
We just halfway through the course here at turn 8.
Yeah. 5-car Larson on the pit road.
Yeah, going to close pit road with 2 to go. He's the race leader. He had gotten by Zane Smith in that last side-by-side we had. And here's the 5-car with his scheduled green flag pit stop, Marty.
Yeah, the advantage of being the race leader. Adam, you can come here with 2 to go. Cliff Daniels and Kyle Larson have certainly made this 5-car much better throughout the day. And Cliff Daniels told Larson, he said, hey, listen, there will be those cars that will not pit, that pitted at lap 30. We're going to have to sit here and watch. And look who's on top of the 5 pit box. Patrick Mahomes hanging out with the 5 team today.
Well, you know, Larson's on a winless streak here. So if he wins today and Mahomes is at the track, he's going to be like, you know, just come up to Northern California last week. Keep me on this hot streak.
Stay with it. It's going to get cold in Kansas City later this year. Just enjoy the Florida or the California sun while you can over the next week. As we see all this, Ryan Preece is closed in to just 2 seconds back of Riley Herbst.
Herbst's done an awesome job today, driving through the field and keeping his track position and giving himself a shot to win this race. Also, Hocevar starting on the front row, sitting there in 3rd place right now.
And what a big day for Preece when you talk about stage points. 2nd in stage 1, riding second now in stage 2, closing in on Riley Herbst. He needs points, and boy, they're putting it together, and pretty good place in regard to strategy, Steve.
Yeah, huge tire advantage, 10 laps. He closed down over a 1.5 seconds on this lap alone. This is going to be nearly impossible to hold off Preece. This might be one of those situations where as much as Herbst wants to lead, maybe let Preece go. Big gap next to the Allmendinger, who's the next car back.
Here comes a 60, a big run here. He's going to get in the braking zone. Herbst smartly lets him go by. It's what you got to do there in that situation, Steve, is not kind of understand what you're racing, who you're racing.
Now, if you're Preece and you want to run these tires long, you want to just stay right on the front bumper of the 35. You don't need to drive off and win the stage by a second.
Final lap of the stage here. 3.4 miles around for Ryan Preece, who's looking to pick up his 3rd career stage victory on the road.
Hocevar struggling just a little bit here in these final couple of laps. He lost the spot to the 17 just there. And now Blaney to the inside, who's been driving up through the field fast all day long in this 12 car. Possibly a guy who sees himself as the one to take the win today. Good pace in this 12.
We know one boater out in the bay rooting for Blaney. Won stage 1, top 5 here in stage 2. Good points day for him. As I said it earlier, they haven't gotten a ton of stage points despite the fact they're top 5 in the standings, but enjoying a really good afternoon here.
A lot of race cars right here battling for spots. Alex Bowman at the very back. Trying to look around the 3 of Austin Dillon.
8th to 13th is what I was trying to figure out the position of this group. 8th to 13th is what you're seeing right here. So stage points are available if you're the front of this group.
You know, Chase Elliott back behind him inside the top 15. Hasn't been a great weekend for him, but they're just hanging in, and trying to get to that final stage when maybe you can pounce.
Yeah, Chase's car just doesn't look happy. He missed turn 6 there off the corner of the screen. The 22, the 34 swapping spots right there.
How about Austin Dillon kind of back in the mix? Remember, his car was spun around and had an issue earlier in the race.
Well, I said it. I mean, his only top 10 of the year came at Watkins Glen in our last road course event. So this team has found some speed in this racing configuration. Obviously, before the crash, Austin Hill was doing a nice job. Turn 12 portion of the track over to turn 13, 14, and 15. Now back to the chicane for our race leader, Ryan Preece. Came in 19th in the standings, 33 below the Chase cut line. 19 stage points today. Second stage victory of the campaign for Preece. Herbst is second. Oh, that was tight there for third. Buscher gets Allmendinger. Blaney ends up in the top 5. Good stage points for Hocevar and his teammate Suarez. Chastain, a top 10 run. Gilliland and Logano wrap up the top 10 in stage number 2. And the highlight of this second stage, the crash on a restart that took out many, among them the pre-race favorite, Shane Van Gisbergen. NASCAR on Prime is brought to you by Pala Casino Spa and Golf Resort. Chevrolet, together, let's drive. And by BuildSubmarines.com. Explore thousands of open roles building the U.S. Navy's submarines. 2 stages down, Naval Base Coronado. Ryan Preece wins the second stint of the race. Herbst enjoying a good day. 2 from RFK in the top 3. Blaney, a nice outing, getting a bunch of stage points. Had a stage victory earlier.
This will be another intersection in the road. Preece, Buscher, Allmendinger, Blaney. I skipped Herbst because I'm confident he needs to pit. So doesn't Hocevar and Suarez. But who else thinks they need to jump to the other strategy. Unfortunately, switching at this point is going to put you behind 8 or 10 cars that pitted under green. And with only 35 laps to go in the race, nobody can make it from here to the finish. I know we've talked a lot about tires. Let's talk about fuel. You can run 22, 23-ish laps on fuel is what we expect. I don't think we completely know. There we go, Herbst. There you go, Allmendinger is a little bit of a surprise. He was one of those lap 30 cars, so they feel that the best strategy is to get some new tires here. Trevor, some cars coming in front of you.
Riley Herbst there coming down pit road. He is the only car that has 2 sets laying in the pit still. Steve, I know you like that. He's coming down, going to get 4 tires now and get some adjustments on this 35. Pretty happy with his car so far, though, Marty.
Carson Hocevar, middle of your screen, said the track certainly changing quite a bit there in stage 2. He said, I felt like I hurt the right rear maybe more than I did earlier in the race on that run. Meanwhile, Daniel Suarez on pit road, they're trying to diagnose, number one, this damage, but that damage, Steve, has also caused a little bit of an engine issue for Daniel Suarez, which they have told him, we cannot fix it here. You'll just have to finish out the race with it.
I'm assuming, you know, with that dislodge, remember these engines are fueled by the air that comes in the nose and ducted up, so maybe something else is broken loose in there, starving the engine a little bit of that fresh air.
The game of leapfrog continues. 23 drivers stay out, so you pit here, you lose some track position, but maybe open some doors down the road. Priest will take over the race lead. Let's go down to Danielle.
Here on the flight deck, Adam, of the USS Carl Vincent Danielle Trotta, Corey LaJoie, the F-18 behind us. It was Ryan Priest with the fighting power to win stage 2. He stays out, so he'll inherit the lead. And Corey, I feel like it's a whole new ball game now that SVG unfortunately wrecked out. We saw there a little while ago. So who do you like as we enter the final stage?
Well, now the rabbit's not out in front for everybody to chase anymore. Who are you pacing your tires off of? It looks like RFK, they had the work done. The hay was in the barn by the time I got here because clearly the 60 and the 17 are strong. It looks like the 17's good, but I got to give a little bit of a look over to AJ Allmendinger because when he sniffs the front in the road courses, he usually can take control, so it's nice to see him up front. I just can't believe we're standing here in front of this F-18 on this ship. It's so cool, all the history of this ship's been involved with. They launched this thing, Danielle, from here and off the runway. It's only like 100 feet. It's bizarre.
0 to 150 miles per hour in 2 seconds if they need to. I just want to throw this out there, Adam. Blaney wins stage 1, Priest wins stage 2. Ford is starting to become a story. We haven't seen them win a Cup Series race. You got to go all the way back 13 races ago to Phoenix with Blaney. We'll see what happens here on the way out.
It's just exactly what we all expected, Danielle, right? I mean, this is how we drew it up. We knew it would be Blaney and Priest at the front. A little bit unpredictable here today, and with Shane Van Gisbergen out, it's anybody's guess where we go from here. Now we head over to pit road to see who is racing with optimism for our San Diego race spotlight. Kim?
Well, Adam, it's been amazing to meet the military personnel this weekend, from sailors to members of the elite SEAL teams. But we've got a former SEAL on pit road every week, Damian Jackson, Jackman for Riley Herbst. After 6 years spent in the Navy, Jackson was a walk-on for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Then he dipped his toe into pro football in that world for a bit, then decided to try his hand at NASCAR, despite it being a very foreign sport to him. And he took a calculated approach to learning the sport and studying it. His work ethic shaped by his time spent as a Navy SEAL. And pit crew coach John Carvin saying you can't be around him and not raise your game. You have to in order to keep up with what he is, what he does. The level of excellence is so high with him.
Yeah, it's amazing. Pit road, the transition of it's been coming for decades, but in the last handful of years, now it's visual. You know, when the crew member, you don't need them in fire suits. When they get off the airplanes, you can, mechanic, pit crew member. I mean, these guys are obvious. They are tremendous athletes. They're just their physical stature. I mean, look at that gentleman right there. I mean, there's just no way that guy wouldn't stand out in a crowd. Speaking of a crowd, look at the group we have up here on deck.
Let's get a quick pit road sweep before we go green final stage. Start with Marty Snyder.
Boy, Adam, you called it a critical 19 stage points for Ryan Preece and Derek Finley, his crew chief. Checked in with both of those RFK cars running 1-2 right now, and they do. Steve kind of surmised it, Trevor. They do think they can connect when they stopped at lap 30 to the one more stop to the end of the race. So they want to make that with like 23 to go if they can. Not sure they can stretch it, but they could pit from 25 to go and make it to the end, they think.
Marty, one of those cars that was challenging SVG early on and went up and took the lead, set the pace, was Ryan Blaney in that 12 Ford. He was super strong, disappeared for a little while on differing strategy from others, but now he finds his way back to the front. Now that those Trackhouse, Red Bull, Chevrolets are out of this race, if you're looking for a favorite, Ryan Blaney might be a good one.
I want to talk about RFK and Penske, a tale of two teams in the Ford camp. The Fords have struggled this year. RFK, though, they're plus 177 in laps led this year, a bit of an uptick over last year. Team Penske down 450 50 laps comparable to last year in laps led. And we've wondered, we talked about the Toyotas having the advantage and the Chevrolets catching them. We haven't talked about the Fords. We haven't had much to say about the Fords, but today they're poised to come away with a victory in a big, huge event.
We saw that big accident. That was in stage 2. In this final stage, these positions, I think, are just going to be contested more and more in these starts.
An eventful stage 1 and stage 2. And now the final run of the day. Going to be 33 laps to go when we go green. Preece and Buscher front row at Naval Base Coronado.
Will the teammates sort it out through turn 1?
Oh, a little contact.
Yeah, Gilliland, a shove there on Preece. 60 gets away.
That's a tough enough corner. You don't need any help getting into that one.
The 5 around the outside into turn 1, trying to get positions. I think he's going to get a couple with those fresher tires.
Oh, Josh Berry around behind. Contact on the right front.
Hit him? I think
the
it was
41 of Cole Custer making contact with Josh Berry. Big damage to the 21. Huge damage to the 21. Goodness.
Learned this week, Jesse Love, reigning champ in the O'Reilly Series, will go in that car full time next year. He was riding 15th.
The battle back continues for Bubba Wallace after being down 2 laps earlier.
Side by side right here. Blaney and Gilliland. The 19 of Briscoe, we haven't talked about him much, but he's pretty solid on the road courses in this 19 car.
Oh, Blaney and Gilliland fighting and arguing.
That was awesome.
What is it you always say? It's like a bar fight breaks out on track. We're starting to see some of that here. Blaney up to 3rd. And got to see that one again.
Look at the top left of the screen, the 5 around the outside. They all stack down in. Now right dead in the middle of the corner, bang! Contact between the 41 and the 21, who then connect again. That was the damage. Oh, this would be a good look. 21 straight ahead. White tail.
Wow.
I mean, contact.
That 4-wide funnel into turn 2 is a dangerous game to play.
Kind of sorted it all out now. Now you just settle in. 33 laps to go. You know a pit stop's coming. As I say that, I thought Byron and the 3 were going to make contact. This shot's great. It shows how much the back of the cars really do move around in this high-speed section.
Chris Buscher looking good in this race. In front of his teammate, Ryan Preece. Blaney there in the 3rd spot. Gilliland 4th, top 4 all Fords.
First car on the fresher tires, Larson in 6th. Zane Smith will not go away in 7th.
Caution is out. 6th of the day.
A little bit of debris somewhere on the racetrack, imagining right there from the 21 and the 41 contact.
It was 100 different cars that could have fallen on. I mean, that 21 car had way more damage than I initially thought
as well. So imagine that Cole Custer also has quite a bit of damage to the front of his car. A little bit of an argument right there between, I believe, the 22 and maybe the 45, one of the Monster Energy cars. I think what we saw in that restart is just going to continue. We have a caution here, so we'll have another restart. The restarts into turn 2 are just going to get uglier and uglier or exciting, however you want to look at it.
Depends if your driver comes out of the corner okay or not. Just parts and pieces all the way around.
Product of restarts, damaged race cars, the physicality and aggression that starts to come with being in the final stage.
And if we continue to get these yellows, you know, who's going to gamble? If you can go 25 laps under green, that means, you know, you basically get every caution lap, you know, it's 3 for 1. So 3 caution laps only burns as much fuel as 1 green flag lap. You could extend that window way out. Now, still at 32 to go, but, you know, to the gambler comes a reward. Like, who does something different? You look at the running order. Hamlin, you've been talking about this Hamlin-Reddick battle in the points. Hamlin all the way up to 12th, doing a really good job. Reddick only 2 spots behind him in 14th. Neither have scored stage points. So in my mind, that has to be win to Hamlin. I thought he came here thinking he was going to lose some points.
Yeah, I think Hamlin, too, has been riding around. We talk about how at Daytona and Talladega, back in the day, guys would ride at the back of the field and wait for the big crash and only go at the end when they thought they needed to. And you wouldn't imagine that kind of a strategy would be deployed at a place like this, but I think that's what Denny Hamlin did. He said, hey, I'm going to let everybody run hard in stage 1 and 2. I'm going to sit back here. I'm not going to go up there and get stage points. I don't believe in our pace or my pace to go up there and finish top 10 in these stages, so I'm going to sit here and let the carnage play out and come out of here with a really solid result. And he's sitting there watching Reddick trip up here and there, right? Spun out in qualifying. He's been around backwards in this race a few times. They had to repair the splitter and go to the back of the field. So this is panning out to be a pretty solid play by Denny Hamlin.
On a 3-race win streak for the first time in his career. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear, born on the track, built for the street. We talk so much about the buzz with all the sailors here at Naval Base Coronado, and Steve, you referenced it's not just here on base, but if you're on the island out having dinner or just in the city, the buzz universally for NASCAR in Southern California right now, the city, the island, it has just been amazing to watch the fan interaction, participation, and the embracement of this event.
Yeah, I mean, the sailors have been amazing. The fan zone yesterday was packed. There was a line around the merchandise building, around the corner, selling out of merchandise each and every day. It's really been shocking. I think we all knew it was going to be special. I don't think our dreams could have been this high. I think the atmosphere is but the support, the fans that have come out, the military personnel, it's rare that you get to take part in something where everyone is just happy. And NASCAR is excited and happy to be here. I've yet to meet a sailor who's not just ecstatic that there's an event on their base, showcasing their base. And I'm proud of the drivers, what we've seen so far. They have put a really impressive race on a very difficult 3.4-mile circuit.
Think about all the hardcore NASCAR fans that have been fans of this sport for decades, love seeing it coming to the West Coast.
A lot of joy being felt here this weekend. And why not? It's Father's Day, it's America 250, and we're doing it in a gorgeous location. NASCAR back in Southern California this weekend, racing in Naval Base Coronado. We're happy you're along for the ride. It's NASCAR on Prime. Time now for all-day value presented by IHOP.
Yeah, the restarts down into turn 2 are the IHOP all-day value, and well, they literally hop off the ground, Steve. They come down the hill, but this is just going to be more and more difficult for drivers to defend. It's such a wide racetrack, and it funnels into that turn 2 back straightaway, and we're just going to see more and more contact, more and more risks taken down into this turn in the braking zone.
Yeah, and the concessions are going to go away. And what Larson did that last time, I pointed out a couple times, but if you look at the left-hand side right here, that blue hooded car, he's pointing way out to the right. He knows that as these guys kind of check up and stumble, if he can work, because now the problem is that tire barrier right there. You can get that outside sweeping into the corner, but if enough guys get to your left, there's just no room. And here we go.
RFK front row restart last time. We're doing it again. Buscher gets away at the front this time.
Not a great start for Priest. Spun the tires a little bit, trying to get launched. He's going to try to make up for it down here in turn 1, but looks like the 12 of Blaney's going to be able to take away that second spot.
Right on cue. I mean, coming over turn 2, Blaney gets there. Briscoe looking as well. Don't write off Larson back there racing with Zane Smith.
Oh, the 91 around Magnuson.
Had an impressive weekend, really doing a good job in his Cup debut.
Yeah, it's been super clean. Without a replay needed, I'm going to say there was contact because they're all banging into each other.
And he was 14th. I mean, we talk about the day he's had, the weekend he's had, and a good running position there when it got away from him.
Briscoe up to 3rd. Look at that 19 car. Hadn't been there all day long, Steve. And now the 5 of Larson slides into 4th.
Yeah, we talk so much about SVG and its battle to make the chase and what this race could mean. How about for Briscoe? As now he's under attack from Larson.
He's going to battle, though, put Larson on the outside of turn 7. Acceleration toward turn 8. Looks like Larson's got a nose out in front. This will be a tough one on the outside. He's going to be able to do it.
He's going to run wide, try to be in the right position to 9. The 19's going to hold him down here. Will he have to let him go? He'll have to let him go, and Zane Smith is going to think about it.
Hey, Anduril onboard camera. Let's talk William Byron. He's been impressive today. A couple of road course wins on his resume as Zane Smith hops out of line.
Side by side through here is tough.
Woo! Turn 12, 12B, look out.
And a dive bomb by the 24. Briscoe's like, enough. Lost too many spots. I got to stop this.
Everything we saw for the first 10 laps of the race is out the window. All of that, you go, no, I go, save some tires. It has moved into full contact NASCAR here with 30 to go.
But we are learning just how racy this course is. It is so fun.
And Denny Hamlin into the top 10. He says it's time to turn it on.
But 2 of those 3 wins he had, he came from the back, so he's kind of a final stage guy, right?
I know one thing. If Denny Hamlin wins, we're going to have to replay last week when he told us he was not going to come to the Amazon stage anymore because you're not going to see him in San Diego.
Yeah.
Even he's going to be shocked.
Alex Bowman running 12th. He's won on a street course. Austin Dillon hanging in the game, racing with Michael McDowell in the 71.
Ty Gibbs, I thought this car was going to be out. He was pretty heavily involved in that front stretch accident. But here he is, battling his way back up through, up to 15th.
And we've said it so many times. Don't write drivers off.
Denny looking to the inside here, not going to make the pass. Priest is falling back to 9th after having a lot of pace early in the race. Denny back to the inside here. There's something wrong with his 60 car, just not able to really get down the straightaway for whatever reason.
Well, you got to remember that 60 car has older tires than all of these guys. They pitted at lap 30. These guys came a few laps later, Dale. I just wonder if those rear tires, he has to be more patient on the throttle. He's under attack, being the last car in old tires. Oh yeah, rears are gone. There you go, just a tire situation. So if I'm hearing that, what do I do different? How do I give my driver an advantage?
Hey, if you look at our pylon, top 8 drivers, only one of them has been to victory lane. It's this guy, Ryan Blaney. Everybody else chasing that first checkered flag of 2026.
I'm here for this duel right here between Buescher and Blaney. Blaney's had a lot of speed right out of the gate, took the lead of the race, drove away, didn't care about tire wear, none of that stuff.
Just demeanor just fits this track too. That cool customer, you know, I'm just gonna roll with the punches, make it happen. But when it's time to get aggressive, he'll fight. He'll get aggressive.
And Buescher's a fighter too, man. He's been backwards today. Spun around by SVG earlier. One of the better drivers on the road courses. Has great results. And Blaney's won at the Roval just over the last handful of next-gen races. This 12 team just hasn't had the pace or the results to match what he was able to do in previous years. So he showed up today, though.
Talked about William Byron making a pit stop, Kim.
Yeah, he actually hit the wall and may have broken something, so that is why he is on pit road. This is obviously not a scheduled stop. The team checking it right now to see what exactly the issue is.
And here comes Ryan Blaney. As Byron gets his service, Blaney looking for the race lead. This is turn 4 over to turn 5. 12 on point, and now we've got an issue. Eric Jones, Austin Dillon.
Yeah, that's down into turn 2. The first left-hander, the same place we've seen the stack-ups on the restart. That Byron accident or contact with the wall just brings me back to what yesterday's winner said. He said he drove 90%, 85%. He had to. There was no room for error all day. You just wonder, Byron, level-headed guy, but it's time to get that last 5%. It's time to finally push your car. I think we're going to see more mistakes out of these drivers.
I just feel bad because you gave me credit for the Zane Smith spin at Pocono when he was racing with Denny Hamlin. We were celebrating him. We celebrate William Byron, and now he sits idle on the pit lane.
Buescher a little wide right there on the exit of 8.
Boy, Larson
He's struggling.
right in the game.
Yeah, he's struggling trying to keep Larson behind him. Larson's ready to go.
How hungry is he?
Oh, that 17 car just sliding the rear tires. Doesn't have a whole lot of grip here. Here goes Larson with a dive bomb to the inside. Buescher's going to have to, a little contact right there, but Buescher's going to have to give it up.
I love that turn 12 pass. The line takes you to the right, and you just drive straight to the apex of the corner.
Inside of 30 laps to go. Blaney leads Larson, Buescher, Zane Smith, and Corey Heim, the top 5. Kyle Larson leading this race. Let's have a look at our burn bar presented by Red Bull, Steve.
Well, I can tell you what the burn bar is telling you now. That is full go. Is for at least as much as you have rear tires. We expected this range to be around 4, just under 4. Look at these guys are in the mid-3s. We have wondered how fast they could go all day. Well, it is time to go, and for that, they are burning some gas here out in San Diego.
Busher right there losing a spot to Heim. Corey Heim showing some good speed here. All the 2311 cars just look fantastic today.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about young drivers, and we've said it a lot, but Zane Smith and Corey Heim, I mean, good grief, good gracious, they've been outstanding today.
Hocevar still in the thick of it there in 6th.
Yeah, I mean, you celebrate young drivers, you put him on the list.
And the 9 car, Chase Elliott gets spun out off the nose of the 2 of Cindric. That's into turn 12. Chase has had a struggle all day long with the pace in the 9 car. And Brad Keselowski trying to get through. And yeah, that's gonna cause Brad to have a flat tire, and he comes to pit road to make that repair.
26 laps to go.
Hey, don't look now. Adam, you said to never count anybody out. Bubba Wallace up to 13th. You mentioned 2311, so I said, well, where's the 23 car at? I know he had a little bit of a rough start with that wheel coming off. 2 laps back, and he has driven his way. Last lap, around 5th fastest car on the racetrack as he's making passes. This 23 car is putting in work. How far up can he get? 26 laps to go.
Well, you look at the Chase bubble, you think about the disappointment of last week at Pocono, and to be 13 plus 62, creating insurance and building confidence with this style of racing, knowing what we're going to do next week. Really good comeback by he in this race team.
Copy. Heads up on it.
Couldn't quite make that out. I think it was pitting.
Yeah, a lot of cars coming
Briscoe pitting. So here you go, 25 to go. They must think they can make it from here on fuel. Bubba Wallace stays on the racetrack. I understand the theory here that you want to be the first car to pit in case the caution comes out, but Trevor, my concern is I'm not sure the rear tires can make it 25 under green.
Yeah, I think that is a concern, Steve, as they've called the 19 to pit road here to make hopefully his final stop. He's been very quiet on the radio, though. Earlier in the day, he did talk about that rear grip that you mentioned. 34 of Todd Gilliland also having a decent day here, was inside the top 10 earlier, has had a lot of success on this road course, but right now they're having issues on the left side of this stop that's really going to hurt their time on pit road, Steve.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for the 34 who was doing such a nice job. He had to come around the 19, and he's just a little too long. Listen, great work by that front tire changer. If he takes that lug nut off, that is a penalty, a much bigger penalty. So he knows it's his job. He looked left. The splitter was over the line, waving his left hand, set the car down. It was a mistake, but don't compound it with a bigger issue.
Well, there's no way anybody else can see that. So he sees it, he calls everybody off, and as you said, you minimize the damage.
And to defend Todd a little bit, coming around a car, once again, backwards, driver on the left. You know, so he's trying to judge where that right front fender is. Normally, it's the left front fender, and they can get very close to the car that's coming around. Todd being a little too cautious, and for that reason, getting long in his box.
Pressure tires now, back on track. Gilliland getting after it.
Battle for second right here with Zane Smith closing the gap on Blaney. Blaney kind of ginger around these corners now. Looks like the tires are slipping away on this 12 car.
And that's what I mean by pitting right now. These are only 8 laps different between Blaney and Larson has driven out to nearly a 4-second lead. Tires matter, and you said it earlier, applaud Goodyear. We want tires to matter. So I don't think it's as easy as just pit as soon as you can make it on fuel.
Zane's got to come to pit road here. Allow Corey Heim to sit here and try to chase down this 12.
Scheduled green flag pit stops. This one coming 24 to go. Zane Smith in front of you, Kim.
Yeah, and for Ryan Briganti, the crew chief, this is a little bit outside his comfort zone in terms of the window, but they noted that the 6th, Brad Keselowski, is stalled on pit road, anticipating possibly a caution coming out because of that. Wasn't sure, but did say the car was great except for on the concrete portions. Marty.
Kim, to Steve's point, the strategy worked for the RFK cars to connect it to that one final stop. This is that stop, but man, tires just way too important. Buescher lost all rear grip. He was able to hang in the top 5, but his teammate Ryan Preece dropped outside of the top 20 after leading just a few moments ago, struggling with that rear grip. So Steve, you're exactly right. Tires matter here at San Diego today.
I mean, Steve, the one thing, if you're Preece, it doesn't work out for you here, you lose some ground in this cycle, but you get all those stage points, which is a great thing for this group.
Look at the gap on the leaderboard. Larson up to a 5-second lead. That's allowing him, taking the pressure off. Like, use these tires while you have them, gap that, and he's running a second faster, basically, than everyone in the field right now. He's 1 second faster than the cars behind him.
And just think about the options that then creates on the pit box for Cliff Daniels, right? Because you have that lead, you can watch how everybody else manages it, and then you can kind of pick your time to come down and get your final stop.
Yeah, I was a much better strategist with a fast car.
I will say, though, I talked to Cliff Daniels last weekend at Pocono. I know you did as well, Dale. They feel like their arms are continually just getting around it more and more. And you see it in the results. Haven't won, but the stage performance is there. The overall performance is there. And we are seeing what they, how productive they have been. It's been a while since they won 40 races. But he has a championship in his pocket from a year ago. They're in position to go out and get it done this year when you look at the standings overall. And now in a very good spot to go out and get a win here today.
Well, they've been trying to dial in the new Chevrolet body at all the mile-and-a-half racetracks and all the ovals, and they have made some gains there, but they come to a racetrack where that's not quite as critical. And he's told us that they just got to execute, got to get everything right. That's what Reddick did at the start of the year. That's what the 11 of Denny Hamlin and his team have been able to do over the last several weeks, is just execute perfectly with fast race cars. The 5 team trying to do that today. So far, so good. And the pace in this car right now, like to your point, Steve, is really going to assist them in their strategy going forward.
Yeah, so you lose about 35 seconds coming in and getting 4 tires. So when you look at Larson extending that lead, he's going to rejoin the racetrack in like 15th, right? So, I mean, this time that any of these guys are running right now, if this continues to run green, they're not going to give this back. They're stretching it out where they need to be. Marty, what are you hearing from Kyle Larson in the 5 car?
Not a word about pitting yet from Cliff Daniels, as the crew is ready if they do need him to come down pit road. But to Junior's point, not only learning this Chevy body, but as Kyle Larson told me earlier this week, we have struggled with this brand new tire the last couple of years at road courses. Remember how good they've been the last few years, Junior, at road courses, but when this new tire came in the game, they struggled at Hendrick Motorsports with the 5 car, but I tell you what, they have got the puzzle solved so far today at San Diego. That lead now over 5 seconds for Kyle Larson, almost 6 seconds for Larson. One more stop to come for this 5 team.
Well, this is when strategy works the best, because you would think cars like Zane Smith, who came early, would be making up time on Larson. That is not the case. Larson is the fastest car on the racetrack a lot of the time, even on older tires.
Zane Smith is the best of that group that pitted north of lap 50. Came at lap 51. He's rejoined the pack now riding 17th. Just for perspective, as you start to think about where everybody fits into the equation, and we start discussing when that 5 car of Kyle Larson could make his final pit stop of the day.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the math, right? He's got 14 on these tires, 23 to go. I'd run 3 more laps probably if I'm the 5 car. That still gives me 20 to go. If the caution comes out, I lose some track position, but I have fresher tires. I'll run those guys back down. He's done it already once. 24 mentioned some contact with the wall, running 5th. Let's take a look. Dale, I think this is turn 6. Yeah.
Oh, man. I think we saw SVG or someone do that in practice or qualifying. And that's exactly how we had that nasty crash yesterday in the O'Reilly race with Sam Mayer making contact with the apex of the corner. It's so easy to do, but it's a driver mistake, and you hate, you know, you feel terrible making such a simple mistake. having to sit here and lose all these laps.
Look at that chase bubble. Byron, still in a good spot when you look at his advantage over the cut line. Behind him, though, it is very tight from 15th down to 19th. Just really, really snug with what will be 9 races to go to the chase after today.
We have quite the summer coming.
Big time.
I mean, this summer we're gonna head north, run Sonoma. That'll be the last road course of the season. And then when you just look at, we got some throwbacks. We got Chicagoland out there. North Wilkesboro's out there.
Good races in the draft. I mean, Atlanta, Echo Park Speedway, Daytona. There's a whole lot going on between now and we're running for a championship. Oh my.
Okay, when we were on board with the 54 and I thought he was making some ground, I knew he had some damage. I didn't realize it was that much damage. I mean, the right front tire is going to be chilly. Look at that thing, a whole fender missing for the right front of Ty Gibbs as we see the 16 comes by.
Yeah, AJ sliding through.
I mean, Gibbs is running 9th.
Next car behind Gibbs is Denny Hamlin, Riley Herbst in the 35.
All these guys in the top 10. Gonna have to make another pit stop here.
Look at this. I love it.
Ducks hanging.
I kind of love it.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Sometimes, when you have air on the tires, it keeps the temperature out of the tire and the tire will perform better. It kind of balances out whatever aero disadvantage you may have.
And there is something about, we've talked about how great this event is, but racing, not NASCAR, racing around the world has become an aerodynamic battle. From the sprint cars on dirt to Formula One to it doesn't matter. You can't put Pandora's box back together. Then we unloaded the streets here in Coronado, and I would tell you by the looks of that 54, we at least have an event or a track that aero can be overcome on mechanical grip, and it's refreshing to watch. Trevor, the 12 of Blaney on pit road.
That was the longest run on tires yet for the 12 of Ryan Blaney, being 24 laps. Before that, 10 laps was the longest. By the end of that run, he had a lot of fall off on lap time and went from the lead to over 13 seconds behind leader Kyle Larson. They're going to give him 4 good years on this number 12 Ford and see if he can go get some of that time back here.
See a little bit slower stop on the 12. Kyle Larson has extended it out to what was nearly a 6-second lead that is now down to 4.6 seconds. Corey Heim, part-time this year, full-time next year for 2311 in that 67 car, is just putting some laps together. Very similar tires to Larson. He's still kind of outside of contact, but look, I mean, it's down to 4.4 seconds. I mean, that's a big chunk. That's a second, Trevor, that the 67 has run Larson down from.
This is right in Corey's wheelhouse, Steve. He is so good at tire management. If you look at the 12 wins in the Truck Series he had last year, it was mostly done late in the run where he had managed the tire. He has a feel for it. He can tell when that tire is slipping, and that is exactly what's giving him that success so far today, Marty.
Trevor, still no movement in the 5 camp to get ready for a pit stop for Kyle Larson. And Steve mentioned it, that lead is shrinking just a little bit for Larson. But look who's in third, Carson Hocevar, who said earlier in the week, listen, I've sent my team the wrong direction at road courses. Started the weekend with his teammate Michael McDowell, set up, kind of migrated from there, but the best speed junior we've ever seen at a road course from Carson Hocevar. And he too, a bit of a tire advantage. He leading that group who last pitted at lap 41.
Spent a ton of time on the iRacing simulator all week working with Shane Van Gisbergen, and it's paid off with the 77. And think about the patience that we've seen this man try to develop. The mistakes that he's made over the years, over the last several years behind the wheel of this car, trying to develop himself into the full race car driver he can become. And you got to be great on the road courses. This is the toughest test for all these drivers, and he's performing.
20 laps to go at Naval Base Coronado. That's the length of the opening stage. Kyle Larson, the reigning champion charge, looking for his first victory of the campaign. Great effort for Corey Heim in second. Hocevar, Reddick, Chastain, Wallace up there as well. Kim?
Yeah, 54 of Ty Gibbs on the pit lane. Not really a lot of feedback on that car, despite it being damaged. Said feels pretty good. They took 4 fresh tires.
We'll see if any of these cars coming kind of entices the 5 to come to pit road. Remember, all these cars that have pitted under green, or at least the majority of, you would imagine would not pit. If the caution comes out, Larson would have to come, and it would be a cycle back situation.
We'll take a break, anticipating more pit stops. And as we step aside with 20 laps to go, we say Happy Father's Day to all those watching here this afternoon. Coming to 18 laps to go in the Anduril 250 here at Naval Base Coronado. Kyle Larson continues to lead. Heim, Hocevar, Reddick, Wallace up there in the top 5. They've got to make pit stops. Of those that have already pitted, best of the bunch, Zane Smith in 11th, Chris Buescher in 12th. They pitted at lap 51. They're 35 seconds back of race leader Kyle Larson.
The big thing for me is this Corey Heim conversation. It is real. Right there he is. He is in the picture now. We didn't have a straightaway long enough to put him on the same straightaway 4 laps ago. Corey Heim, look at the lap times. 2:18.10 to a 2:16.9. That's 1.2 seconds. Corey Heim has run down Kyle Larson.
He has entered the chat. That
he
is
has entered.
Sure.
Yes.
And now we do our Credit One Bank ones to watch. How about the race leader, Steve Letarte?
Well, listen, it's hard to pick Kyle Larson leading the race. How is he not the pick to have? Well, he's on a 40-race winless streak. 6 times, though. He has won at the road courses the last time back in 24 at the Roval. Is today the day for Kyle Larson?
Zane Smith, he's back in 10th place, but I'm wondering how the strategy is going to play out for this number 38 Ford. Zane has top 10s in 2 of the last 4 races. He's got 2 truck wins on the road courses. Could be another win for this team today.
Steve, I'm going to take your 40-race winless streak, and I'm going to up you. It's been 60 races since Chris Buescher has found his way to victory lane. Got it done on a road course, Watkins Glen, a couple of years ago. Been in the game all day here today. I've mentioned the fact he's one of those drivers that's already made a pit stop, cycled up to 11th. Keep your eye on driver 17, who this week eked a new contract with RFK. So he's staying committed to his group and having a great run here in Southern California.
As Heim gets that down to 2 seconds. I have to remember, it was Heim that missed the Chicago street course.
Yeah, unbelievable, right? Yeah, he had the issue, and it was dramatic to see who was going to qualify in on time.
I say that because this is his first Cup road course race, but not his first attempt. I mean, he missed the street course at Chicago, and here he is putting down some of the best laps in Coronado.
Yeah. Got to give credit, too, to Booty Barker. You know, Booty's been a long-time crew chief, but he's managed this team when Heim comes over and runs the 4th car for 23-11. He's a good leader, just a good balanced, even temperament on the pit box for a young driver like Heim.
And 23-11 obviously had the right approach here. When you look at Heim, 2nd, Bubba Wallace, 5th, Herbst, 8th, Reddick, 4th. I skipped right over Reddick. I see him so much as a top 5, I didn't even give him credit. So all 4 23-11 cars. There we go, pitting this time. Well, let's see what's going to happen. He's close enough now that these backwards pit stops that are awkward, he could jump Larson. This could be a race on and off pit road with 17 laps to go. This race could be determined by the pit crews.
Moody, I'm running out of tire here, dude.
Moody, I'm running out of tire.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Man, what a cool disposition for this kid. And running 2nd, all the confidence in the world, and probably adjusting to the next-gen car quicker than I've seen anybody coming out of the trucks of the O'Reilly series.
Here's a look at our shot on Snapdragon camera, turn 5. That's pretty cool, huh?
Look at the worn out asphalt, all the tire debris that slid up. Denny Hamlin's going to go back and watch this race this week and see his newest driver running 2nd. It's going to get him the warm and fuzzies, man. He's got to feel really good. Now the 21's going to buy the 5. Next car in line is the 67. And it's going to be really close to Chris Buescher, who has already pitted. He has run some great laps. I only say that not to confuse the situation, but what we're going to be looking for is Larson and Heim when they come to pit road, where they blend relative to Buescher and Zane Smith, who are on the racetrack, because I think they may blend behind them, and we're going to have a situation where we have to run them down.
Well, and I'll say this, the good thing is Buescher has gotten by Zane Smith in that exchange of those drivers that have already made a pit stop. It was Smith in front of Buescher. Now it's the other way around as we start thinking about the cycle and who is where and the track position that could play out in the last 15 laps or so.
If you look at the map in the bottom left, we've put the 17 in there because we believe he can make it to the end. He's the first car in line. Now look, he's running 8th, but the first car in line that can make it to the end. So when the leaders pit, where they return to the track relative to Buescher would then become the race for the lead. First, let's see what these two do. I think they're coming together. Oh, I love this.
Me
Drag
too.
race around all the way to the yellow line. Pit crews, you've been practicing. Let's see what you can do backwards.
Here they come, Trevor.
Corey Heim has not missed a step all day as he ran down the race leader Kyle Larson and was putting the pressure on. He said he was out of rear tires by the end of that run. We'll see if Corey Heim can save tires on this next 15 laps to have something to win this race, Marty.
Trevor, the only laps Kyle Larson has led today to this point with 16 to go were the last 11 laps. No complaints, even though that lead did shrink down a bunch for Kyle Larson at the very end of that run. 4 tires here. We'll see where everybody blends out. He's easily going to beat the 67, but where does he blend in with the rest of the field, Adam?
Yeah, they come off pit road, and there you see flashing by. Buescher has already come by the exit of the pit lane.
Yeah,
so the 17 jumps him.
He's headed to turn 3 right here.
Here's the question. He's opened up a gap, but he's on those older tires. What does pitting later in the cycle do for you here if you're Larson and you know, Corey Heim and the others that'll come?
Yeah, 8-lap older tires, and we saw that basically they burned off from Blaney, and that's where it went away. So looking at the leaderboard, let's look at last pit. We have Hocevar, Reddick, Wallace, Chastain, all needing pit stops to make it to the finish of this race. Look at Buescher, Zane Smith, you mentioned it, 8-lap older tires. The next 4 position, what we believe will be positioned at the end of the race will be Larson and Heim. The other cars that are out there at this point, I think, are hoping for a yellow, because so many guys pitted 10 laps ago, you'd have fresher tires. This is going to be a heck of a sprint. We talk about no mistakes. Larson's going to have to be perfect to try to keep Heim behind him.
It's tough when you just have to run a guy down. For Larson, it's playing offense and defense here maybe. That's a big ask.
47 car is pulling into a runoff area.
Just down beyond turn 2 there.
That's right. So that should keep things.
Puff of smoke.
Oh, there's a ton of
Oh, that oil's somewhere.
oil, yeah.
Down the hill is going to be interesting to watch. Who's next through turn 2? That is going to be a slippery downhill path into turn 2.
6 cautions so far today. And it'll be 15 laps to go this time around. Look at Heim.
He's going to make this really tough on Larson. He's going to put the pressure on. Marty, what you got?
Here comes Carson Hocevar as we watch that battle between Kyle Larson and Corey Heim on the track. Hocevar making his final stop of the day. Really tore up through the field with those fresher tires. No plan changes, and the caution is out as Hocevar's on pit road, Adam.
7th caution of the day. We'll see how all this cycles and who benefits. Tyler Reddick was also on the pit lane when the caution came out.
So these cars right here will be scored how they exit pit road relative to cars on the racetrack. So you look right here, here's the 77. Where is he going to be scored? Because there goes the 5 by right here. NASCAR's going to have to work this scoring out, but this was a huge break for Hocevar, because remember, when the yellow comes out, the 5 has to slow down on board with the 47 of Stenhouse.
It's through turn 1. He hits the wall right there. And he blows up. So look at all the smoke coming out of the hood of the car.
That's interesting.
This is on board the 84 of Jimmy Johnson.
Oh,
see all the fluid coming out of the 47.
We saw the fluid beyond turn 2 from the Arby's onboard camera. We didn't know where it started, but it obviously happened on back up the hill. And if you're NASCAR, you got to throw the caution and get that all cleaned up before you have a bigger accident.
Yeah, you see this, you see that big streak of fluid. You just can't allow those guys to race down into turn 2. This is going to be an interesting lineup. NASCAR will let us know what it all is once they get it figured out. Basically, the rule is that you are scored to either the start-finish line or pit out, depending on where you are pitting. Where those guys mostly were pitting, it would be the pit out line. So no doubt that Buescher's the leader. I don't think that's in question. The real question is the 77 scored correctly? And if so, he's right behind the 5 of Larson.
But it also erases the lead that Buescher and Zane Smith had on the 5 of Larson and all those cars that had new tires. They have maybe a 9 or an 8 lap advantage on tire sitting there behind Buescher and Smith, and now they're right on their doorstep.
Decent amount to sort through here, and we'll do it when we return. 15 laps to go at Naval Base Coronado. The caution is out, and a huge restart will come next. Critics are calling the Sheep Detectives a near-perfect 2026 surprise. It's certified fresh at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Watch it June 24th only on Prime. Look at this.
You know, I've been offered a couple times to take a ride. I've never It's never worked out schedule-wise, but I hope it does at some point. It's just amazing. Every event you see that thing.
The lineup they're calling out is 77.5, 67.
Now let's hear from some drivers as they recap what their thoughts were preparing to take on Naval Base Coronado.
One of the toughest places to prepare for, you know, but at the end of the day, it's the same for everybody.
A lot of unknowns. You know, when you come out to the racetrack, you're looking all around, trying to find your brake markers, how bumpy the racetrack is. But
I guess the biggest surprise was how low grip it was and how quickly the tires wore out.
This track's got way less grip than what our sim had, so you're almost having to relearn it once you get here.
Some of it's going to be concrete, some of it's going to be repave asphalt, some of it's going to be old asphalt. So everything is a complete guess.
A complete guess. And we've got a lot more answers now after spending so much time on this street circuit. Practice Friday, qualifying yesterday, and here we are 61 laps into the race today.
Yeah, they got a new challenge now as we saw the speedy dry cleanup work getting done down the hill into turn 2 with all the fluid that Ricky Stenhouse laid onto the racetrack. So all the drivers are going to have to advance into that corner, not really truly understanding what kind of grip might be there, what grip might not be there. That's already been a pretty tough part. So, you know, look at this, right? So they're all going to be trying to fight more for the inside of the racetrack and stay out of that speedy dry that's been put down on the racetrack. You won't be able to really use that outside line in the braking zone to advance. We've seen some drivers do that today.
Pause in the action. Let's do a little FanDuel race check here at Naval Base Coronado.
I'll give you a little handicapping when I look at this. I like Kyle Larson and Corey Heim. I like the position they're in. I think they have the freshest tires near the front, looking very good. Buescher has the lead, so I understand the situation, but with those 8-lap fresher tires, it is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. I will tell you, though, you never know, right? You have a bunch of restarts, a bunch of wrecks. Buescher might be able to just keep the track position all the way to the end. Marty.
See, there's actually some debate on the 17 radio. They're leading right now, but you mentioned those 8-lap fresher tires right behind them as to whether or not they would pit here, because they do have extra sets of tires in the 17 camp, so they could pit here, but you're going to give up a ton of track position with not a lot of time left here at San Diego. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson has been coached by Cliff Daniels before this restart coming up, sitting in 5th right now behind Carson Hocevar. He said, listen, we've been better than the 77 every short run today. We will have some good tires here. Let's go take advantage of it, so we'll see how this plays out in the final few laps here from Coronado. Trevor.
Kyle Larson and Corey Heim were coming down the front stretch as that caution flag flew. They did check up a little bit, which then allowed the 77 of Carson Hocevar to get by them as they exited pit road. Other than that, though, they're sitting on really good tires on that 67, pitted at lap 59 right before the caution had come out. So Corey Heim's looking to see if he can move up a few spots and maybe contend for that first Cup win. A little further back, Ryan Blaney in the 12 was really fast early in this race, got off sequence, lost some track position, got it back, and then faded with old tires. Now that he's on newer tires, pitted at lap 54, we'll see if those few laps more on the tires have a big impact on his ability to go up there and challenge as well.
Man, if Buescher pits from the lead, I can see what they're thinking, but Hamlin from 3rd is going to have to pit. Suarez back in 9th. You know, I only have about maybe 10 cars that have to pit.
Logano, right?
Yeah. This is going to be pretty fascinating to see where it ends up. Hamlin doing such a nice job. We keep talking about that points battle between him and Reddick. Well, Reddick currently sits 8th. But you said it, Adam. That's the tale of catching the yellow or not catching the yellow, right?
That's
Reddick
right.
was on pit road. We heard Hamlin was coming to pit road. They changed their mind. Now they're wishing they would have came.
The way the luck has been going lately, you would have thought Hamlin would have been on pit road when the caution came out, and Reddick would not have been, because Hamlin's been winning and been on the positive side of the racing luck, so to speak, taking absolutely nothing away from their performance. But in this situation, it definitely works against Hamlin.
There you go. There you go. They're coming.
Look at this. Pit road is open, and we have a number of takers. The game changing right here with 14 to go.
Denny Hamlin in and that caution just did not fall in their favor. No reports on the balance of that car. He's just been saving tires all day. Zane Smith on the bottom, though. Interesting call by crew chief Brian Berginti. He said, we are going to do what the 17 does. So they did exactly what Chris Buescher did, fresh tires for that car, Marty.
Boy, Kim, the end of this race just got way more interesting. Buescher mentioned what Steve mentioned. We lost all of our gaps, so let's go on offense here. So Scott Graves making the call to reward his driver with that. Put him on offense, fresh Goodyear tires. We'll see what the 17 can do. Giving up the lead, though, with 13 to go at San Diego.
And bravo, Scott Graves, because that definitive decision and talking about it on the radio brought so many cars to pit road. I think that really helps their strategy.
16 drivers stay out. A full reset and a restart when we return to Coronado. Check out Prime's exclusive in-race feature, Key Moments, during the broadcast by clicking up on your remote. It's the easiest way to catch up on race highlights and flag changes as they happen. And if you're ever late to NASCAR on Prime, we've got you covered with Rapid Recap, where you can see all key race moments in 2 minutes or less. Look at that. There it is, the USS Carl Vinson. Little history lesson here. This one of 11 active U.S. Navy aircraft carriers, one of 3 that calls Coronado home. Named after the Georgia congressman who did so many great things for our country. And when you think about what a small city it is, over 5,000 sailors, and I had forgotten this until we were talking to some of the crew yesterday, but they played a college basketball game on the USS Carl Vinson many years ago.
I think what I've learned so much with our time out here about specifically this carrier class is when you hear 5,000 or 6,000 sailors, you know, 3,000 or 3,500 are on board to operate, operate the vessel. And the other couple thousand are there to operate the air wing, all the flight operations. And it's like 2 completely different working cities put on the same ship. It's really unbelievable how it all gets orchestrated.
Yeah, all those folks on this carrier, average age on the carrier is about 20 years old.
There's might be the stat of the weekend right there.
Yeah. 19-year-old steers the ship, literally.
It's crazy, yeah. You know, it's so difficult to cover an event of this magnitude, and then you think about the length of this street course, 3.4 miles. It just adds so many layers for our crew. I do want to take a minute to salute everybody, the men and women that work in front of and behind the camera, making NASCAR on Prime a possibility, because when you do this, there are many challenges, but our group has been planning for over a year. They've been up to the task, and we thank all those who put in the countless hours, early mornings, late nights, their commitment, their dedication, the great attitudes, putting us in position to be where we are. We thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, big restart. Carson Hocevar gets a little break through a cycle of strategy. Caution comes out. He's in control with Larson beside him.
And Hocevar chose drivers left, which will put him on the outside of turn 1. He has to launch. He has to clear the 5 by turn 1.
Going to be 12 laps to go in what has become like a crown jewel event. Here we go once again at Naval Base Coronado.
Pretty good launch by Larson there. Still just barely to the inside. Hocevar a little wide. Gives up a little pace. Down
Look at Reddick.
turn 2.
Larson not going away. Bubba Wallace getting aggressive, side by side. What a day for 23-11. 3 cars in the top 5. Hocevar gets the lead. And here comes Reddick charging from behind. Turn 4 over to turn 5.
Heim right there to the inside of the 5, side by side for second. Larson will be on the outside here. Heim trying to get down in there and fill the gap. He's going to do it. Accelerating out of turn 5, down the straightaway, taking the spot away from Larson.
Corey Heim making a major statement today in Southern California.
Bubba Wallace putting the pressure on. Ty Gibbs right there behind Bubba Wallace as we ride on board.
Bubba Wallace was 2 laps down, had a wheel come off, served a penalty. 2 free passes, and he's very much alive here, racing for 4th.
Oh, a little lockup right there on the 77. You see the smoke, Adam. He's trying to hold on to this lead over the 45 of Reddick.
Hocevar great in qualifying yesterday. Late run, put it on the front row, but playing defense now. Reddick is there, and Heim getting impatient. Look at this for the race lead. He's from Northern California, but he leads now in SoCal. Tyler Reddick on point.
Hocevar made contact with the inside wall there and knocked him offline. Trying to recover, trying to get this car back up underneath him, but he's got a fast Corey Heim on his deck.
You heard the radio, 90%, 12 laps to go. That's 40 miles.
Oh, 77 around.
Hocevar the spin.
Contact. His teammate.
Yeah, Chastain nowhere
Not
to go.
Teammate, but Chastain.
Teammates for Team Chevy getting connected in the chicane.
We'll see if there was, I couldn't tell if there was contact off the bumper, if he just locked up the rear tires. Either way, it's 23-11, 1, 2, 3. 2 owners. Denny Hamlin in the race. MJ, I'm not sure where he's at today, but he's stressed right now. 1, 2, 3. Let's see, was there contact?
Just right there.
Absolutely, yeah. Contact from the 67 to the 77, right in the right rear bumper.
And Chastain gets contact as well, trying to avoid, and slides into the 77 here.
Well, we talk about how great 23-11 is. Riley Herbst back there in 5th. You see him right here checking up and avoiding this problem.
What a move by Herbst. Chase Elliott out of his rear bumper. Quite a day for the 9. He's back to 9th. So now, 11 laps to go. That is a long run. When we started the day, we didn't know rear tires would go 11 laps. So now, what is the balance? How hard do you push? Dale, would you rather be Reddick trying to run away or Heim pacing yourself off the leader?
Well, I don't know. I think both spots sound pretty good to me. You know, the thing about it is I think Heim, you know, seems to, he knows what it's like to run up front. I don't know that Reddick has that information. Jimmy in the wall right there in turn 6. This is the first time Reddick's been toward the front to really understand how, well, he might not have all the information about pace just yet. Heim does. Heim has more information about how these tires are going to do under this type of performance. And so Reddick, he's learning this in real time. Does he overdo it? Does he push too hard and run out of tire when it really counts? Kim.
And the thing to keep in mind, I've been listening to this team all day. His rears have been giving up about the middle of every single run. So they just came on the radio, said 11 more to go. Take care of your tires. So to your point, learning in real time about where the limit is.
And if you're just tuning in and you think the same would be for Bubba Wallace, who was in the back, wasn't the case. First run of the race, I thought he was Mr. Consistent. He ran the same lap time for nearly 11 laps and drove right to the front of the field.
What a statement this would be in the championship. Reddick just ran the fastest lap of the race. Came in 19 points in front of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin had won the last 3 races and had that championship advantage down to 19 after it was well over 100, and we thought everybody else was racing for second when it comes to the regular season title. But the 45 back in control now and can really do something positive here today in that regard.
He slides the rear tires just a little bit there on throttle out of turn 4 headed to 5. I got to give 2311 their flowers. We've said, you know, they started out the season winning a lot of races, but it looked like Joe Gibbs Racing had established himself as just having a little more speed. Bubba back there under attack from Larson out of turn 5 headed to 6, but it looks like coming to this racetrack, 2311 to me has been the most competitive team next to this 5 car. Larson missing the corner there in the braking zone a little bit. 5 of Larson's been really quick, but 2311, this Toyota team, they've unloaded with super fast cars. They've been up front all day long. One of the 3 or 4 teammates has been running up toward the front of this pack.
What about that guy running second, Corey Heim, Trevor?
Well, Adam, I want to talk a little bit about both of these 2311 cars. You mentioned, Dale, about Tyler Reddick knowing the pace to set versus Corey, who's been up front already. That last lap, they were over a half a second faster than the pole time. So if you're wondering how much they're riding, they are not at all right now. Corey Heim trying not to let Tyler Reddick get out of sight.
I'm telling you, Bubba Wallace, I think, is the pace setter here. I think his strategy is to allow the 45 and the 67 to burn each other's stuff up. That's why Bubba was so defensive on Larson, because he wants to be the next guy in line. He's thinking to himself, you guys burn your stuff up, about 3 to go, I'm gonna show up on the scene ready to use what tire I have left. Just listen on board this 23. Listen to how, like, he's not being aggressive with the throttle. He's like saving some tire on corner exit.
I thought Bubba made a major statement last July when he won the Brickyard Crown Jewel event. But boy, if you're able to come from 2 laps down in this race and win, that would be some kind of comeback and a major statement once again. Kim?
Yeah, and he has been absolutely quiet since that early incident where he lost the tire, just absolutely focused on this race. They've gotten themselves back in it. You guys mentioned the fact they were 2 laps down at one point, and when I talked to him before the race, remember, he had a great qualifying effort of 12th. He said, it's shaping up to be a good weekend. He said, but I'm literally just crawling to get where we need to be with my progress on road courses. He said, don't expect any superhero moments out of me today, but right now, I would say Bubba Wallace looking a little bit like a superhero running 3rd.
I just go back to Friday. Practice was complete, 50 minutes, and we had that sarcastic, I would call it, celebration of Bubba Wallace. I made it, I survived, I didn't hit anything in the practice session, and now here he is, overcoming adversity and in position to maybe make it happen and go to victory lane.
Yeah, not that he's not good on road courses. We just didn't expect to see this kind of pace. But there you see, 40 starts, no wins, 1 top 5, 4 top 10s. And he's got the leaders right here in front of him, right in sight. And if he is, to your point, Steve, managing these tires better than the 2 out front that may be pushing harder, we saw it in that first stage, how he was able to run people down and make positions and pass cars and eventually take the lead.
If you're used to seeing NASCAR races, when you see 1 second, 3 seconds, you know, Michigan, at Pocono, tracks like that at Charlotte, you think, man, it's just not going to happen. We have seen lap times fluctuate 4, 5, 6 seconds over a course of a run. So I think you just have to understand, at 3.4 miles, everything's bigger, even the amount you can make up. This is the group that came down pit road storming back through Hamlin, not ready to just give up all those points. He's going to pass for 16th right here.
See it there, commercial free. Till we finish things here in Coronado.
Priest now looking to the inside of Alex Bowman.
Commercial free, maybe not caution free, very aggressive on track. This guy's on fresher tires driving back through.
Zane Smith back up to 7th. He's the first car of the ones that came down pit road under that yellow.
I might give a pop to Chris Buescher. I mean, I had him in our ones to watch.
Yeah.
He's up there in 8th, right behind Zane Smith.
Last time by, Reddick and Heim only about a 10th apart. Well clear by about a second of Bubba Wallace's lap time. Only 2 cars in the field in the 133 or the 213. So there you see the rest of the field, 214s. Marty, what you got on this 17?
So Scott Graves wanted to put his driver on offense. Steve mentioned Zane Smith leading that strategy of those who pitted at lap 62. But Buescher making time through the field and has consistently been one of the top 5 fastest cars on the racetrack. And Adam, you mentioned a caution. Now, I bet they wouldn't mind one in the 17 camp to bunch this field back up with those fresher tires for Chris Buescher, who has driven from 16th to 8th since the restart.
And we're really just now, I think, seeing the magic of this course that's put together here, right? It's taken a while. You see the black on the concrete. It's starting to take rubber. The drivers are no longer learning it, right? Now they're racing. Now they have confidence. They know the weaknesses of cars, the weaknesses of corners. It's got a great flow to it. 2 completely different. What'd you call it, Dale? It's like a front 9 and a back 9. The first half of the racetrack and the second half almost feel like they were 2 different designers.
Yeah, a lot of 90-degree turns and pretty typical road course turns on the first half of the course. Then the backside is all big, long, swaying, laterally loaded, really fast, high-speed corners that really beat up the tire. And then you have this chicane sitting here before we get to the finish of the lap. It's a tough course.
Heim's not going away, just staying right in the hip pocket of Tyler Reddick.
He's closed the gap, and I think Bubba Wallace is understanding that, man, I'm going to burn my car up trying to keep pace with these guys. But he's backing up to Larson.
7 laps to go. You talk about Wallace and how he manages the end of the race. Here's another thing to think about. After Nashville, he was 15th in points and flirting with that chase cut line. Today, he's up to 11th.
Corey Heim, you see the stopwatch on the leaderboard. It has moved from Reddick to Heim. That last lap from Heim, the fastest lap of the race today.
Go to Michael Jordan, just a big moment guy.
Yeah.
And here we are in a big moment for the sport of NASCAR. Racing at Naval Base Coronado, making history here this weekend. And it's all of Michael's drivers that are coming to the forefront. Reddick, Heim, Wallace, 1, 2, 3, and Riley Herbst having an outstanding day back there in 5th.
Yeah, this is a team sport. It takes engineers and crew back at the shop and pit crew members. But then you get to a moment in a race like this, and there's a reason the driver are the stars. I was fortunate enough to crew chief for both Jeff Gordon and the guy sitting next to me, Dale Jr. They became stars because in these moments they found that next spot, right? So Reddick, talk about a star. This guy's been nearly untouchable to start the year. Corey Heim, in just such a short career so far, he's running both trucks, O'Reilly and Cup in some variety all year long. I can't imagine the difficulty bouncing from car to car to car. Billy Scott down there, the crew chief for Reddick.
I just got to wonder, though, is, coming to 6 laps to go, we've got these 2 guys here, Reddick and Heim, who drove away from the field by 5 seconds. Wallace, Larson, Herbst, Allmendinger, all those guys are within about a second of each other in those other spots. Are they back there? Have they cooked their tires? Is there anything left? Are they waiting with only one hope of a late yellow, saving a little rear tire for maybe a couple of laps run to the finish?
Right now, these front 2 have seconds to give up. These laps are unbelievable.
6 laps to go, this time by a little over 20 miles to the checkered flag.
See the gap back to 3rd with Bubba Wallace, who has Larson all over his back bumper. That's allowing Herbst to close in, Allmendinger to close in as well. These 2 guys here continue to battle. There it is right there, the battle for 3rd. I wonder if Bubba's struggling with the car. Here's AJ trying to get around the 35 of Herbst.
Allmendinger into the top 5. Herbst trying to close the deal on his best career finish. 8th is it coming into today. Back to 6th as Allmendinger is able to slide by.
Bubba right here. Let's see if we can watch the car. Is there movement in the braking zone? Is the car sliding around, moving around? Does it look really smooth?
It's funny, the last lap, both of these cars went a chunk faster.
Yeah.
And maybe they said, okay, we're going to wait till 5 to go and we're going to push. I don't know if they'll get there, but maybe that's the plan.
Yeah, I feel like Bubba just said, hey, I'm not going to catch the front two, so he backed up to the 5, and now he's getting the pressure. He's got to pick up the pace just a little bit to maintain the position. He's going to finish great, or maybe possibly get a shot at a late, overtime finish or some sort of a late finish to whatever tire he's preserved on this car. It'll be an advantage to these two cars right here who have really went hard. Reddick and Heim pushing so hard. You have to wonder if the tires can get to the finish line without falling off that cliff the drivers talk about.
Well, and Wallace came into this race 13th in the chase standings, so this is a guy that, to your point, Dale, wants to have a good run, wants to take some pressure off. He seems to race for those last couple spots in the postseason every year. Last year, it was a win that locked him in. That's not going to be the case this year. It's not how the system works, so try to get some points.
He doesn't need that summertime drama. Larson has a lot on the line in that regard, too. Reigning champ trying to stay and get to the top 5 in points. That's where everyone feels like you need to be prior to that reset for the chase if you're going to have a real opportunity to go out and win the title, and he'll be looking for 2 in a row when we get to September.
With 5 laps to go, Heim is definitely in the rear tracks. Now Larson pulls out a line for Bubba. What's Bubba going to do? Gives him the lane.
Bubba's going to have to give it up right here, I think, going into 3.
Just don't want to do anything to throw it away. Tight racing for position. Larson by for 3rd. Turn 3 up to turn 4.
I agree. I think that was a very mature move by Bubba. Don't get caught up in the moment. Don't throw away the hard work and the recovery of this team. Heim has the lead has got the lead down to under a half a second. And here he is. I mean, you want to talk about the pressure. It is on.
He was 3/10 quicker that last lap. And the closer he gets, Reddick sees it. Reddick's got that nice new HD mirror on that car, so he can see that car very clearly, getting closer and closer. And as it does get closer, you push harder and harder. You start slipping. You start making mistakes. You start opening up the door and the opportunity for Corey Heim to close the gap even more.
Think about, though, the comparisons of these two. Reddick, a 2-time O'Reilly champion that's been a Cup superstar in recent years. He's won 5 times in 2026. Corey Heim is a Truck Series champion. He's running a limited schedule. He's never won in a Cup car, going full-time next season. So the opposite ends of the spectrum. One guy laying the foundation, the other trying to take the next step and be one of the best. And here they are going at it at the front, inside of 5 to go in a very big event. And look at this. Got one off the pace, Brad Keselowski.
Brad's going to smartly let the leaders go by here. He's got a right front or left front tire issue, spun out in turn 6.
Oh, Heim is moving up. 12 starts. That's all the 23-year-old has in the Cup Series. And here he is, 4 laps away in 1 position from his first win. Allmendinger currently holds down 5th, Herbst in 6th.
They were a little over a second, 2/10 faster than 3rd place Larson and the rest of the field. Everybody else, 135 second. While the 2 leaders still running 133s. And they've been running 133 seconds for laps.
Zane Smith, Chris Buescher, 7th and 8th. Made that pit stop on those fresher tires.
Last half a lap, Reddick's been able to stretch it back out just a little bit, only a few tenths, but he looks at it again, he sees that in the mirror and he goes, hey, all right, what I'm doing is working. I gotta keep doing that. I gotta be patient, I gotta be smart. I don't wanna overdrive it. Don't try to push to get more, just make good exits. Get in the braking zone cleanly.
He's not an overreactor.
No.
And you do wonder what experience means in these situations. In that regard, there is no doubt an advantage Tyler Reddick.
Gained another 10th right there. Reddick built onto the lead.
Heim is doing everything to keep the pressure, trying to get 45 to make a mistake. I'm not sure if Reddick's going to make it that easy. I think Heim's going to have to find a way by.
I think Heim just needs to get a little closer. He's cut into it this last couple of corners. He's just got a little bit closer to try to put the pressure on. Be close enough to truly worry Reddick in the braking zone.
3 to go. Down to turn 2.
Oh, Reddick misses the corner right there.
That's what Heim's been waiting on.
Heim spins the rear tires on acceleration.
Heim is right there. Turn 3, up to turn 4. Look at Heim going after Tyler Reddick.
Contact, but he's gonna have the acceleration and the inside line going into turn 5.
How about this? He waited, then he pounced. Crossover, here comes Reddick, inside turn 5.
Oh, he pushes him wide. Heim's in the dirty stuff, bounces off the wall.
Corey Heim, race leader from 5 to 6 with just over 2 laps to go. This is remarkable.
Reddick knew that he'd made the mistake, and I believe he allowed the 67 to recover.
I agree. I almost think I saw a hand out the window on the 67. Hey, thank you, hand. You ran me offline. You went by. Let's see what happens.
This is earlier down into turn 2. Reddick is going to miss the corner. Maybe gets a little high in the braking zone, some dirt on the right side tires.
Teammates racing each other clean. The 67 with a little bit late, but an expected move down in. No real contact. They get side by side, heading now. Next corner, a right-hander. The 67 rolls the outside, the 45 with the crossover as we head to the next corner.
Yeah, this crossover was impressive. Reddick right here makes the decision. I'm going for it. He overdrives the entry a little bit into 5 here, slides up, a little contact, and I think Reddick stops. He says, I'm gonna let him have it. Little bit of a glance off the wall for Heim, but Heim now is driving away with the lead.
I swear when the 67 gets back in front of him, there's literally a hand out the window saying thank you. It's unbelievable. The respect these two are showing each other as teammates with so much on the line.
I just think about Denny Hamlin and how aggressive he was in pursuing Tyler Reddick when he went and got him to put him in this 45 car, and all the great things he said about Corey Heim when they announced he was going to go full-time next year. And there you saw the kiss with a 67.
Just unbelievable the respect these two are showing each other.
Well, the
now
race
back to live.
Yeah.
Reddick is like, all right, I'll let you have that because I made the mistake, but I think I can run you back down.
Yeah, I wonder if there was any damage to glancing off the wall. Oh, the 45's had an issue here.
Might have a tire down, or did he just completely get into the dust?
He might have jumped sideways. Oh, no,
left front
tire's
flat. Is flat.
Boy, this is huge. Tons of breathing room now for Corey Heim.
Think about the points too, fellas. This 45's got to get all the way around the racetrack to get to pit road.
Yeah, left front goes down.
I mean, he's leading the race. The advantage is back over 50 points.
Yep.
You drop the second, you lose 20 of that advantage, and now you limp around. Who knows where it goes from here?
Hamlin back in 17th.
It's off.
The other side of this, you know, caution comes out with Heim leading. That's not what he wants either, right?
Yeah, he doesn't want to do that to his teammate. He's in a tough spot to try to get back around this racetrack.
But keep in mind, Heim comes back, gets the white flag, caution comes out, the race is over. So Heim now is just racing his way to that white flag and trying to get there before we see a yellow, if we get one.
How about Bubba Wallace standing on the gas? He was saving a little bit. He's like, all right, I'm turning it loose. Drives around the 5 of Larson for second.
9 seconds up the road for Heim, so he has no chance of catching him. A caution would be his only hope, but he definitely had something in the bank. Now for Heim, it's just hit your marks. Tell him, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Booty's going to be on the radio saying 9 seconds, man.
Nothing behind you, but 200 car.
200 car lengths. I don't know how you count 200, but I like it.
Buckle down, concentrate. Turn 16, and he'll see the all-important white flag here. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Corey Heim is leading at Naval Base Coronado.
You talked about the difference in positions. Corey Heim, this is his 13th start in the Cup Series. His crew chief, Booty Barker, his 599th start. He has 2 wins on top of the pit box. What would it mean to 2311 to bring Corey Heim to victory lane?
Denny Hamlin said when he announced he was going full-time next year, he's a generational talent. Now is the time. Last year, Heim wins the truck title, taking 12 of 25 checkered flags, and there were many days they didn't win, but had the best truck. Everybody universally believes this guy is ready for the big stage, but I gotta say, ahead of schedule, coming out part-time ride and doing this, remarkable the performance this afternoon.
Well, and they mean big stage, they mean Sunday. Did you see that camera shot? This isn't the big stage, this is the biggest. I mean, other than the Daytona 500, this has to be the biggest event on the schedule this year. The opportunity that this young man has taken, and what a drive.
Everybody said this is the most difficult task we have faced. I'm talking about veterans, those that have done it forever, that have seen it all. And this young driver has come out and put the pieces together.
It's been a plan, though, from the start, racing in the Cars Tour, all the way up through the trucks. I've watched this guy work his way through, learn all these different disciplines, become an incredible race car driver. He's got great racecraft. He's great at managing races. I think the generational talent is underselling it just a little bit. He is a superstar, and he's showing us why.
The star is born here today. It's America 250. It's a red, white, and blue paint scheme. And a young superstar is going to get it done. In his 13th career start, it's Corey Heim who will win at Naval Base Coronado.
That's going to be 1 right there. That's 1. Time. Time time. Time time.
Look at this. First Cup win on a road course. Some stout names on the list. Today belongs to Corey Heim. Look at the congratulations, the show of respect. 1-2 finish for 2311. Bubba Wallace ends up a runner-up. Reddick 25th after the tire issue. Riley Herbst, the other driver from 2311, matches his career best. Another top 5 for Larson. How about Zane Smith in the top 5, got to 4th.
And all these congratulations, and it's really the battle we saw between Heim and Reddick. The respect that those two showed each other on the racetrack is setting the standard, right? They just are kind of redefining how you can compete at this level. And I think the rest of the garage knows this.
Take a look back at some of the replays from the pass for the lead. Heim dives down into 3 and giving each other room, but a little bit of a door slam through the corner here to be expected. This is for the race win.
And this move by Reddick to get from driver's right to driver's left, this crossover, Dale, so impressive. And I thought he had it worked out, just too much speed into 5.
Yeah, he tried to dive it down in there, real shallow, kind of loses the back and slides up the racetrack, and then Reddick stops, allows the 70 or the 67 to recover, and then they raced it out until eventually the left front of the 45 car would blow. But man, this was quite a battle. Good respect.
Just unbelievable.
20 lead changes today. I'm going to tell you what, just an incredible circuit. And how good is Denny feeling now?
Man.
Goes and taps Heim on the shoulder, says, come drive one of my race cars. I mean, this is really, really cool. By the way, Hamlin finishes 14th. He's only 8 points back after the way that race ended.
He's probably the second happiest person here next to Heim with being the car owner of the winning car and the decision to get Heim, right? I mean, it is very hard to land talent like this in this garage. There's a bunch of competition. And Denny Hamlin in 2311, Michael Jordan, they're putting themselves toward the top of that mountain, where drivers are going to find 2311 as a destination where they want to be.
They're doing all the non-flashy things right. They are hiring talent to drive, talent to work on them, talent to call the races. They are, to your point, not a lot is made and a lot happens in boardrooms, but the results happen on the racetrack and in victory lane.
Ten wins in 2026 for Denny Hamlin. 4 behind the wheel, 6 is an owner. 5 for Reddick, and today for his young phenom Corey Heim, who is letting it rip at the start-finish line in Coronado.
Here with Corey Heim, who just put on a clinic in tire management and being able to not put a wheel wrong all day. Corey! Taking his time, getting his gear off. How does it feel, man?
Dude, I'm speechless. I mean, we started the race. I mean, I think we started 13th. We fell straight back to like 20th, then put on our scuffs from qualifying and struggled just as bad. I don't know if we made any adjustments, but Booty kept telling me that these were our worst 2 sets of tires, and you know, we were going to be just fine, you know. And he was right. I mean, I couldn't believe it. We strapped another set of tires on, and we were just fine. Hit the wall a couple times, maybe it knocked some good into the car. I have no idea. Just after stage 2, I just kind of took a deep breath and was like, you know, I had really high expectations coming into this race. It's an even playing field for me. I don't see that every day for a young driver like myself. And yeah, I just kind of took a deep breath and reset and went after it. So caught a couple breaks with, you know, some of the good guys wrecking out, but they don't ask how, just how many.
Corey, I had cold chills watching you, man, because I know how hard and how much work you've put in over these last 3-4 years in the Toyota program to have this opportunity. And I watched you run down one of the best, Tyler Reddick, and be able to go up and contend. Take me through that battle with him as you were pacing yourself, not to wear your tires, and then the pass and the moment where you got in the marbles there.
Yeah, you've been a big help too, Trevor. I really appreciate you, man. But I don't know. I feel like, you know, for a while there, I thought he was kind of playing with me, but, you know, he's able to set the pace, being the lead car, but I was kind of able to stick with it. I'm like, I'm not really burning my stuff up. So 5 to go came, and it was just kind of time to put some pressure on him, see if I could get him to make a mistake. And sure enough, he did. I guess he ended up braking or something. I don't know what happened to him, but a lot of respect for him, though. He doored me down there in 5, I think, and gave it back to me. That's something you don't say every day. Great teammate. So, you know, I don't know, just crazy. I mean, it feels like a dream. I hope I don't wake up from this dream, but I don't know. This is insane. Just so thankful for 2311, Mobile One, Toyota for this journey. I mean, I didn't expect to come into my part-time season and win, but here we are, you know? I mean, it's crazy. So It hasn't even sunk in yet. I'm sure I'll get emotional in a little bit, but it really hasn't even sunk in yet.
Take this in, Corey. It's a big one of the biggest ones that he could win here at Coronado at the Naval Base. What a great race for this 67 Toyota team, Adam.